Chapter 2508 Powerful Pressure. Lu Ming was no match for the lava giant at all. Even if he gave it his all, he was only equivalent to a 6-star heavenly emperor. There was a huge difference between him and a peak heavenly emperor. Lu Ming was severely injured and had no strength to fight back. Am I going to die here today? Lu Ming had a thought in his mind. He was unwilling, extremely unwilling. At the same time, he was worried about Xian Yanqing, Lu Xiangxiang, and the others. He had encountered such a difficult and dangerous situation. What about Xian Yanqing and the others? He was unwilling to give up and wanted to resist. He desperately urged the divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron. However, there was a force between heaven and earth that was too strong and completely suppressed the divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron. Bang! The magma giant landed beside Lu Ming and looked down at him. You are too weak. The magma giant opened his mouth. The magma on his body flowed, and his expression could not be seen at all. If you want to kill me, then kill me. If you want to humiliate me, don't even think about it. Lu Ming said coldly. Don't worry. I won't kill you now. The magma giant seemed to smile and continued, I won't kill you now, but that doesn't mean I won't kill you in the future. I'll give you a chance now. I'll give you 50 years. You can only stay on this island for the next 50 years. You have to find a way to defeat me. If you can't defeat me after 50 years, I'll kill you and destroy your soul. Do you understand? After saying that, the magma giant turned around and left. Not long after, he disappeared from this place. Giving me 50 years, is this a test? Lu Ming pondered. Then, Lu Ming sat cross-legged and circulated the indestructible ancient scroll with all his might to begin healing. Although his injuries were severe, they did not harm his core. Under the effect of the indestructible ancient scroll, he recovered quickly. Not long after, Lu Ming was fully recovered. If I want to defeat the magma giant within 50 years, my combat strength must be at least stronger than an ordinary peak heavenly emperor. After his injuries were healed, Lu Ming had to think about this problem. 50 years might seem long, but to ordinary people, it would pass in the blink of an eye. It would be difficult to surpass an ordinary peak heavenly emperor in 50 years. Given Lu Ming's current situation, there were only 2 ways for his combat strength to surpass that of an ordinary peak heavenly emperor. The first was a physical breakthrough. Lu Ming had now cultivated the 7 gods' mysterious technique to the middle of the 6th stage. His physical strength was equivalent to a 4-star heavenly emperor, or he might be able to suppress an ordinary 4-star heavenly emperor. As long as he cultivated the 7 gods' mysterious technique to the late stage of the 6th stage, his physical strength would skyrocket and he would be equivalent to a peak heavenly emperor. In addition to the power of the way of domination, Lu Ming was confident that he could defeat the lava giant. However, it would be extremely difficult to improve the 7 gods' mysterious technique after he had cultivated it to this level. If he were to cultivate step by step, it would be normal for him to spend tens of thousands of years or even hundreds of thousands of years. The experts among the immemorial body cultivators took a long time to break through each step. The reason why Lu Ming had broken through so quickly previously was that he had too many opportunities. He had obtained various rare treasures one after another. Each of those treasures was a rare treasure in the world. Lu Ming's physical body broke through one after another after refining such a treasure. If Lu Ming cultivated step by step, his physical state would not be able to reach his current level. It was almost impossible to cultivate his physical body to the level of a peak heavenly emperor within 50 years. The second path was to cultivate the ruler Dao to peak emperor. Lu Ming's path of domination was too powerful. It could allow him to cross an entire realm. As long as he cultivated the path of domination to the peak Great Emperor realm, Lu Ming's combat strength would be equivalent to that of a peak heavenly emperor. Then, with the strength of his physical body, he could defeat the lava giant. However, to reach peak emperor in 50 years was even more difficult than breaking through to the physical body. The higher the realm, the more difficult it was to break through. Previously, Lu Ming had been able to break through continuously because he had comprehended the Dominator's will on the statue. However, it had taken him decades. Now, it was even more impossible for him to comprehend it on his own and break through within 50 years. However, Lu Ming had to do it. Lu Ming had no doubt that if he could not defeat the other party 50 years later, he would definitely be killed by the other party. What should I do? Lu Ming's mind was racing. This must be a test. If it wasn't, he could have killed me right now. Since it's a test, there must be a chance of survival. By the way, the Serpent Man said that there are some opportunities on some islands. Perhaps there are similar opportunities on this island that can help me break through. At the thought of this, Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he began to search the island. The island was not very big. It had a radius of several thousand miles. Very soon, Lu Ming had searched through it. There was nothing. There was no vegetation or life on this island. There were only flames and only one lava lake. The temperature was terrifyingly high, at least a dozen times, or even 100 times higher than the outside. There's nothing here. How am I supposed to break through? Lu Ming was in deep thought. Boom. 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 At this moment, a violent explosion was heard again. The huge lava giant had come again. Brat, do you think you can defeat me just by standing here in a daze? I'll hammer you. The lava giant roared. Its arm turned into a huge lava hammer and smashed toward Lu Ming. Don't think that I'm easy to bully. Lu Ming was furious and fought with the other party. However, after a few moves, Lu Ming was beaten to the ground and was seriously injured. I just think you're easy to bully, so what? If you have the ability, hit me. The magma giant called out in a very annoying manner. After that, he laughed and left. Lu Ming was so angry that he almost vomited blood. All along, he had been the one suppressing others. This time, he was suppressed by a stupid big guy. He was really depressed. No, I must break through within 50 years. I can't die here. Lu Ming's gaze became determined and he started to heal his injuries. After his injuries were healed, Lu Ming began to comprehend the way of the master. While Lu Ming was cultivating, the lava giant did not come to deal with him. Cultivation knew no time, and in the blink of an eye, a year had passed. In the past year, Lu Ming had focused on cultivating the path of domination, but he had little to no gains and his progress was slow. No, I can't reach peak emperor in 50 years if this continues. Lu Ming muttered to himself. Even if he were to spend a few times more time on it, he would still be unable to comprehend it step by step like this. Lu Ming's talent was already high enough. If it was someone else, if they did not have the opportunity and cultivated step by step, they would not be able to do it even after 50,000 years, let alone 50 years. Boom. 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 At this moment, the magma giant appeared again after a year. The moment he appeared, he raised his fist and smashed it down. Naturally, Lu Ming was no match for the other party. Very soon, he was severely injured. Brat, you haven't improved at all. I think I'll be dead in 50 years. The lava giant left after saying this. Chapter 2510 Tempering the body. Lu Ming was so angry that he vomited blood. In particular, the magma giant's annoying look made Lu Ming so angry that he gritted his teeth. However, Lu Ming had no choice but to reconsider the problem of cultivation. No, it's impossible to reach the peak of Great Emperor in 50 years without any outside help. I might as well cultivate my physical body. There are flames everywhere and the temperature is shockingly high. If I keep burning my body, it'll be better for me to temper myself. I might as well cultivate my physical body and have a glimmer of hope. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and decided to cultivate his physical body. It was not just because of the environment. There was another reason. There was only one bottleneck in the cultivation of the physical body. Once this bottleneck was broken through, Lu Ming's physical strength could reach the peak of the Heavenly Emperor realm. However, Lu Ming was only a 5-star Great Emperor. He would have to face 2 bottlenecks before he could reach the peak Great Emperor realm. It was easier to break through 1 bottleneck than 2. Having made up his mind, Lu Ming put aside the path of domination and began to cultivate his physical body. Lu Ming removed the defense on the surface of his body and activated the 7 gods' mysterious technique. Instantly, the temperature outside reached tens of thousands of degrees Celsius and enveloped Lu Ming's body. Chi. Lu Ming's body emitted a sizzling sound. Buzz. Lu Ming's muscles trembled. When his muscles trembled, the high temperature outside seeped into the depths of Lu Ming's body, helping him to temper his body. After cultivating for a while, Lu Ming took out an emperor's medicine and refined its energy to aid his cultivation. A few days later, Lu Ming stopped cultivating. It's effective. The speed of cultivation here is several times faster than other places, but I can't break through in 50 years. Lu Ming furrowed his brows in deep thought. In this place, with the help of the high temperature, it was indeed faster to cultivate the physical body than outside. However, it was not so fast that it was exaggerated. Lu Ming estimated that it would be difficult to cultivate to the later stage of the 6th stage within 50 years. Let's go to that lava lake. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he thought of the lava lake. There was a lava lake on the island, and the temperature was at least dozens of times higher than outside. Lu Ming wanted to cultivate with the help of the lava lake. This was a cruel and extreme method. However, Lu Ming had no other choice now. Let's go. At the thought of this, Lu Ming dashed towards the lava lake. When he arrived at the lava lake, waves of terrifying heat surged toward Lu Ming. The temperature was 10 times higher than other places. He was only standing on the side, but the temperature here was already extremely terrifying. Lu Ming had no choice but to channel his energy to resist. Let's get used to the surroundings first. Lu Ming was not in a hurry to dive into the lava lake. The temperature down there was too high. It was far from what ordinary lava could compare to. It was too terrifying. If Lu Ming were to jump down directly, he would probably be melted by the strength of his body. At once, Lu Ming stood by the lava lake, put down his defense, and began to cultivate. As soon as he removed his defense, a terrifyingly high temperature enveloped Lu Ming's entire body, as if his body was about to burn. Chi. Green smoke rose from Lu Ming's body and he felt a tearing pain all over his body. However, Lu Ming did not even frown. This bit of pain was nothing to him. Indeed, Lu Ming felt that cultivating here would be more effective. Lu Ming revealed a look of joy. Then, he calmed his breath and focused on cultivating. Time flew by, and 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming had already fully adapted to the high temperature of the lava lake. In the past 3 years, the lava giant did not come to look for Lu Ming. Buzz! Suddenly, Lu Ming opened his eyes and leaped into the lava. 3 years of adaptation was enough. Now, he wanted to use the magma to temper his body. It had been more than 4 years since he came to this island. Time passed quickly, and 50 years would pass in the blink of an eye. He had to seize the time. After jumping into the lava, Lu Ming sank into it and the terrifying lava enveloped him. It hurt. It was extremely painful. Lu Ming discovered that his skin was beginning to melt. Following that, his muscles were also beginning to melt. Block Kit. Lu Ming growled. He circulated the indestructible ancient scroll to recover rapidly while at the same time, he circulated the 7 gods' mysterious technique to use the high temperature to temper his body. In the end, it was still blocked by Lu Ming. Although he was not in pain all the time, the effect of cultivating here was indeed much greater. This was an extremely extreme cultivation method. Ordinary people would not be able to withstand it. This was because the physical body was constantly in the process of melting and healing, back and forth. How many people could withstand such pain? Just like that, Lu Ming focused on cultivation. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, more than 20 years had passed. Lu Ming had been on this island for almost 30 years. However, Lu Ming's physical body still had not broken through. It was still at the middle of the 6th stage. Not enough. Continue going down. Lu Ming started to sink. The deeper he went, the higher the temperature of the lava lake would be. After descending a few hundred meters, the temperature here was several times higher than above. Lu Ming continued to cultivate. Not far away, the magma giant was watching. This kid is determined and decisive. He's ruthless to himself. Not bad, not bad. The magma giant murmured. Then, he turned around and left. Lu Ming continued to cultivate, completely forgetting the time. Every once in a while, he would sink down for a while. In the end, he had almost reached the bottom of the lava lake. Breakthrough. On this day, Lu Ming let out a low growl. His muscles and bones trembled violently, giving off a thunderous explosion. There were also the roars of dragons. Boom! Boom! The lava around them exploded continuously, and the bottom of the lava lake seemed to have a giant wild beast rolling. Boom! Suddenly, the lava exploded, and a figure rushed out of the lava lake. This figure exuded a shocking aura. This figure was naturally Lu Ming. At this moment, his muscles were trembling and the qi and blood in his meridians were surging like an angry dragon. He was extremely powerful. He had broken through. His physical body had finally made a breakthrough and reached the late stage of the 6th level of the 7 gods' mysterious technique. At this level, the strength of the body was equivalent to a peak heavenly emperor. It was almost cultivated to the peak. After a long while, the aura on Lu Ming's body was concealed. Lu Ming had an idea and a piece of clothing appeared on his body. His clothes had long been burnt in the lava lake. After 46 years, I've finally broken through. Lu Ming's eyes were bright and his lips curled into a smile. It had been 46 years since he came to this island. In these 46 years, Lu Ming did not rely on any rare treasures. He relied purely on his own perseverance to break through the bottleneck and push his physical body to the peak. 46 years old. If those old guys from the immemorial body cultivators knew that he had cultivated his physical body to this level, they would probably be dumbfounded. Chapter 2511 Suppressing a Peak Heavenly Emperor. However, at this stage, the 7 gods' mysterious technique could no longer be cultivated. Although there was still a 7th level to the 7 gods' mysterious technique, there were only 4 words for it. 10,000 yuan returned to 1. This was the complete content of the 7th stage of the 7 gods' mysterious technique. Lu Ming was confused. Boom! Boom! At this moment, a series of rumbling sounds came from the distance. The magma giant had appeared again. Brat, you've been hiding for so long and you finally dare to show yourself. Come and take my punch. Before the magma even reached him, he had already thrown out a punch. A huge fist condensed from lava came crashing toward Lu Ming with shocking power. If this had happened when Lu Ming had just arrived on the island, he would not have been able to withstand the punch and would have been injured. But now... Boom! Lu Ming's muscles trembled and he threw a punch across the air. Lu Ming did not use the power of the way of domination in this punch. He only used his physical strength. With a punch, the void was directly pierced through, revealing a pitch-black void. Endless void storms condensed into fist force and blasted toward the magma fist. Boom! Their attacks collided with each other and the entire island shook. Then, they disappeared in pairs. Ha ha ha, kid, it seems like you've broken through. Come, play with me. The magma giant laughed and rushed toward Lu Ming in big strides. Today, I'm going to give you a good beating. An ominous glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. His muscles and bones trembled. His body passed through space and appeared in front of the magma giant. He punched out with both fists. The magma giant was also filled with a strong will to fight. It moved its body and threw magma fists at Lu Ming. The two of them engaged in an intense battle, and it was difficult to determine the winner in a short time. "Ha, not bad, kid. You can fight with me now. However, you're still not strong enough to defeat me." The magma giant grinned. "Then add a little more. I was just stretching my muscles and bones just now." Lu Ming sneered. He had indeed been stretching his muscles and bones just now. His physical body had just made a breakthrough, and his power had skyrocketed. He needed to get used to it, so he didn't use the power of the path of domination just now. He just relied on his physical strength. Now, he had more or less adapted. Boom! The aura on Lu Ming's body grew stronger. His entire body was shrouded in a layer of purple gold light. With the addition of the Dominator's Tao, Lu Ming's combat strength had undoubtedly increased by a notch. Although the increase was not particularly significant compared to his physical strength, it was enough to suppress the magma giant. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming started to attack again. The purple gold fist radiance broke through the air and destroyed the magma giant's attack in an instant, forcing it to retreat. After more than 10 moves, Lu Ming seized the opportunity and punched the magma giant's chest. The magma giant's chest exploded, leaving a large hole that was transparent from the front and back. However, the lava giant seemed to be made of lava, and it recovered in the blink of an eye. "Not bad, kid. You win." The magma giant shouted. Again. "We're not done yet. Continue." Lu Ming shouted and continued to attack. Lu Ming had been beaten up by the lava giant a few times previously and he was really angry. He would not be able to calm down if he did not return the favor. "Nest, kid, I've already let you win, and you're still fighting, ah." The lava giant cried out and was punched in the face by Lu Ming. Half of his face had exploded, but he recovered in an instant. However, Lu Ming kicked the lava giant's stomach again, sending it flying. Lu Ming took a step forward and chased after it, continuing to attack. You're shameless. You're still attacking. Stop it. Nest." The lava giant kept screaming. However, its vitality was too tenacious. It was hit by Lu Ming's continuous attacks as if nothing had happened. It could not be killed at all. However, he still felt pain after being hit, so he kept screaming. Lu Ming only stopped after he was hit dozens of times. At this time, the magma giant looked at Lu Ming with a resentful gaze. It was like a young girl in her prime had been humiliated by a thug. Petty and vengeful. The magma giant muttered. "What did you just say?" Lu Ming widened his eyes. "Nothing much. You've passed. Go to the next island." The magma giant turned around and ran, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming revealed a smile. His current strength was finally at the peak of the heaven realm, the evil god realm. Without the divine nine-dragon cauldron, he could suppress a peak heavenly emperor with his own strength. In the current heaven realm and evil god realm, other than the unrivaled powerhouses who were half a step into the martial god realm, there were still true martial gods. He no longer had any opponents. However, in the entire heaven realm and the evil god realm, how many demigods and martial gods were there? He had finally reached the realm and the existence that he had once looked up to through his hard work. What's on the next island? Lu Ming took a step forward and came to the other end of the island. Indeed, he found a floating bridge that led to the next island. Lu Ming did not hesitate. He stepped onto the floating bridge and headed to the next island. Soon, Lu Ming arrived at the next island. This island was completely different from the previous one. It was full of vitality, with green trees and a faint fragrance in the air. Lu Ming strolled around the island and arrived at the center. There was a huge mountain peak here, and at the foot of the mountain was a cliff. Lu Ming's eyes widened. He discovered that there was a huge statue at the bottom of the cliff. This statue was exactly the same as the statues that Lu Ming had seen in the other cursed lands. However, it was many times larger. Moreover, the statue was also filled with a domineering aura, and it was extremely strong. Even from a distance, Lu Ming could feel a strong dominator's aura spreading in all directions. Following that, Lu Ming's gaze shifted upward and he noticed that there was a large word carved on the cliff above the statue. The word, battle. 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 When Lu Ming's gaze was fixed on the word battle, loud roars suddenly came from the word. They were filled with an endless fighting spirit. It was as if an unrivaled expert was fighting a great battle. The next moment, the voice disappeared. However, the word battle began to distort in Lu Ming's eyes. A mysterious concept emerged in Lu Ming's mind. It was as if the word battle represented the source of all battle, combat power, and combat techniques. It was extremely profound and unfathomable. How amazing! This is too amazing. In just a few breaths, Lu Ming seemed to have a new understanding of the various combat skills and divine abilities that he had cultivated in the past. It's not bad to be able to reach this island. At this moment, a voice came from behind Lu Ming. Chapter 2511 Mysterious Battle Word. A voice suddenly came from behind Lu Ming, startling him. There was someone behind him, but he didn't notice it at all. With his current cultivation and powerful spiritual sense, he did not even notice that someone was standing behind him. Lu Ming's back was covered in a layer of cold sweat. He quickly turned around and saw a middle-aged man with a pair of transparent wings on his back. He was standing not far away, looking at Lu Ming with a smile. Lu Ming's eyes were solemn. "You're the guardian of this island?" "No, I can't be considered a guardian." The man with the transparent wings shook his head, and said, "Strictly speaking, those are the guardians." His finger was pointing at the statue and the word battle. "That's the true guardian." Lu Ming had a puzzled look. "Not bad. I know you've comprehended the Tao of Sovereign. This trial is very simple. If you can fully comprehend the will of Sovereign from the statue within 100 years, as well as the word battle, you'll pass." The man with the transparent wings said. "What if I don't fully comprehend it within 100 years?" Lu Ming asked. "If you don't fully comprehend it, it'll come and kill you." The transparent winged man smiled and said casually. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He did not doubt the other party's words at all. This man with transparent wings gave Lu Ming an unfathomable feeling. Lu Ming felt that he was definitely not his match. This person was at least a half-god, or even a martial god. Seize the time and properly comprehend it. "I'll go with you," the man said. He then turned and took a step, disappearing. Lu Ming could not tell how the other party had disappeared. Who? Taking a deep breath, Lu Ming walked toward the cliff. 100 years. Lu Ming did not believe that he could not fully comprehend the nominator's intent on the statue and the word battle. Lu Ming sat down cross-legged not far from the statue and began to comprehend the will of domination on the statue. The nominator's will on this statue was much stronger and more profound than the ones on the statues that Lu Ming had encountered before. Moreover, it was many times denser and deeper. It was naturally much more difficult to comprehend. However, Lu Ming was still extremely excited. He could sense that as he studied the statue, he gained a new understanding of the sovereign Tao, and was able to use it more and more smoothly. He himself was only using the sovereign path in a barbaric manner, unable to display any of the wondrous aspects of the sovereign path. However, he could still comprehend some applications of the way of domination from this statue. Naturally, Lu Ming was eager to comprehend and absorb it. Cultivation knew no time. 5 years had passed in a flash. Lu Ming's comprehension of the Tao of domination was progressing at a rapid pace. He could already feel that he was about to break through. However, Lu Ming was not in a hurry to break through. Instead, he continued to comprehend for 2 years. Then, he took out a large number of divine stones and began to absorb them to break through to the next realm. Not long after, Lu Ming successfully broke through and his cultivation reached 6 stars Great Emperor in one go. Ha! With this statue, my cultivation has improved too quickly. I don't need 100 years to comprehend this. Lu Ming was in a good mood and was full of confidence after the breakthrough. After consolidating his cultivation, Lu Ming continued to study. Next, it was more difficult to break through. This time, Lu Ming spent more than 20 years before he successfully comprehended it. Kacha. When Lu Ming had fully comprehended the sovereign's will on the statue, cracks appeared on the statue. Just like the statues Lu Ming had encountered before, they shattered. I've comprehended all of them. With my current understanding of the Tao of a ruler, I'm completely capable of breaking through. I'll break through. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He continued to take out divine stones and refined them crazily. This time, it took a few months for Lu Ming to break through and reach the peak of 7-star Great Emperor realm. The world energy and purple gold energy in his body became more and more intense. With a thought, his body was covered with the purple gold ruler's Tao. Lu Ming felt that he was filled with infinite energy. A casual blow from him could break the stone and shock the sky. He had reached the peak Great Emperor realm in the Tao of domination. Lu Ming could suppress ordinary peak heavenly emperors with his Tao of domination alone. In addition to his strength, which was equivalent to a peak heavenly emperor, Lu Ming's current combat strength was extremely terrifying. I wonder if I'm confident in fighting against a demigod. Lu Ming pondered. He wasn't sure since he hadn't fought with them, but he knew that a demigod was much stronger than a peak heavenly emperor. He had not fought before, so he was not confident. In less than 30 years, I've already comprehended this statue. Next, I'll focus on the word battle 1. Lu Ming pondered. After consolidating his cultivation, he looked at the word battle. Waves of wonderful concepts emerged in Lu Ming's heart and he began to comprehend them in detail. However, a few months later, Lu Ming ended his cultivation. He was a little bewildered. After a few months of comprehension, he felt that the battle word was unfathomable and mysterious beyond imagination. In the beginning, he seemed to have benefited a lot, but as he continued to comprehend, he became more and more confused. The word battle wasn't a martial technique, battle technique, or divine ability. It seemed to be an extremely profound intent realm. It was as if the word battle was the source of all battle. Whether it was battle techniques, martial arts, divine arts, or anything else, they were all included in the word battle 1. All-encompassing, the true Paul was all-encompassing. Lu Ming had a feeling that as long as he understood the word combat, he would be able to use any combat techniques and divine abilities with ease. He would be able to use any weapon with ease. Amazing, this is amazing. Lu Ming was not shocked. Instead, he was overjoyed. He had a feeling that this was a great opportunity. As long as he seized it, he would benefit endlessly. Lu Ming started to comprehend again. Lu Ming had still underestimated the difficulty of comprehending the word battle. In the first 10 to 20 years, Lu Ming seemed to have been wandering in confusion and it was difficult for him to gain anything. The difficulty of comprehending the word war was much more difficult than the way of the ruler. 20 years later, Lu Ming was finally at the beginner level. He had gained quite a lot and was on the right track. At this time, he had been on this island for 50 years. He had been in the Yellow Springs world for more than 100 years. Lu Ming was completely immersed in cultivation. He was like a sponge, desperately absorbing the water outside. Very soon, Lu Ming had been on this island for 80 years. There were only 20 years left before the 100-year period. Lu Ming was still in the midst of his comprehension and had not finished. In the center of the Yellow Spring Sea was a huge island. It was the largest island in this sea area. There were mountains and countless peaks above, and there were huge palaces built on many of them. This was the Yellow Springs Island. Chapter 2512 Fruit of Life. The Netherworld Island was the core of this place. At this moment, on the shore of the Yellow Springs Island, 2 floating bridges emerged almost at the same time, extending from a small island in the distance to this place. 2 figures were running wildly on the floating bridge towards the Yellow Springs Island. One of them was the ancestral dragon, and the other was the non-human divine ancestor. The two of them landed on the Yellow Springs Island almost at the same time and were the first to land. When the two of them landed on the Yellow Springs Island, they found each other and sparks flew in their eyes. "Ancestral dragon, you're pretty fast." The non-human divine ancestor sneered. "You're not slow either," Zulong said. Cold killing intent emanated from the two of them. But in the end, they both had their own concerns and did not make a move. At this moment, the two of them discovered at the same time that not far from them, there was a towering tree. This tree was extremely huge. It was at least a few hundred meters in diameter and was so tall that it reached the clouds. The entire tree, not only the trunk but also the leaves, were suffused with multicolored light. However, the most eye-catching thing was the fruit on the tree. There were 18 fruits in total, each the size of a fist. However, they immediately attracted the attention of the ancestral dragon and the non-human divine ancestor. "Life fruit, it's the life fruit," the non-human divine ancestor murmured, his eyes burning with fire. He had finally found the fruit of life. Didn't he enter the Yellow Springs world for the life fruit? With the fruits of life, his injuries could be healed. If he had enough fruits of life, sacred ancestor Bloodheart's injuries could also be healed. At that time, he would be able to easily flatten the heaven realm. At the same time, the ancestral dragon's eyes shone with a burning light. Buzz! Buzz! Almost at the same time, the two of them moved and pounced towards the life fruit. The two of them reached out their hands at the same time and grabbed at the life fruit. But at this moment, the entire tree of life glowed. Then, two roots reached out from the ground and whipped at the ancestral dragon and the non-human divine ancestor. Bang! Bang! The power of the roots was unbelievably strong. The hands of the ancestral dragon and the non-human divine ancestor were crushed, and they were forced back. The two of them had grave expressions on their faces. The next moment, the two of them moved again. They burst out with all their strength and revealed their strength to the extreme as they pounced toward the fruit tree of life. Walala! This time, the ground churned, and more than a dozen roots appeared all of a sudden, lashing at the two of them like a storm. Bang! Bang! The two of them continuously collided with the roots, and their bodies shook violently. They were sent flying far away, and they spat out blood at the same time. The two of them were actually injured. They were two martial gods, and yet they were injured by the roots of the fruit of life. If the people of the heaven realm and the evil god realm saw this, they would be shocked. The two of them had a gloomy look in their eyes. The ancestral dragon didn't feel anything, but the non-human divine ancestor's face was especially ugly. His desire for the life fruit was too strong, far stronger than the ancestral dragon's. Damn it! The non-human divine ancestor roared in anger. He had gone through so much to come here, but he couldn't get the life fruit. At this moment, the space above the fruit of life started to ripple. Then, a figure appeared out of thin air. It was a middle-aged man in a white robe. He looked very refined. He must have been a refined young master when he was young. The non-human divine ancestor and the ancestral dragon looked at this man with caution. That was because they could not see through this person's cultivation realm. This time, only the two of you are war gods. The elegant middle-aged man glanced at the ancestral dragon and the non-human divine ancestor and asked in a soft voice. He seemed a little confused. Right now, the only martial gods in the outside world are the two of us. The non-human divine ancestor said. There are only two war gods left. Strange. What's happening outside? Where is this place? The middle-aged man mumbled to himself and then looked at the ancestral dragon and the non-human divine ancestor. You want the fruit of life, right? The fruit of life only ripens once in countless years. It's not time for it to ripen yet. Not mature yet. The ancestral dragon and the non-human divine ancestor were both dazed. That's right, it hasn't ripened yet, so if you want to pick it, the fruit tree of life will automatically attack. However, once it ripened, as long as you don't damage the fruit tree of life, it won't fight back. The elegant middle-aged man explained. How long will it take for the fruit of life to ripen? The non-human divine ancestor asked. Soon. This time, the life fruit is about to ripen. As for how long, I can't say. It'll take a few years if it's fast, or a few hundred years if it's slow. You just have to wait for a while. The elegant middle-aged man smiled. Then, he looked into the distance and said in a low voice, Can that little guy pass the test or not? I hope so. After all these years, someone has finally mastered the Tao of a sovereign. At least there's a bit of hope. With that, he turned around and disappeared. The ancestral dragon and the non-human sacred ancestor exchanged a glance, killing intent in their eyes. At most, a few hundred years was nothing to them. They just had to wait. When the life fruit ripened, the two of them would definitely have an intense battle to fight for it. The ancestral dragon, in particular, really wanted to kill the non-human divine ancestor. This was because the heaven realm would be in grave danger if the divine ancestor of the non-human race were to obtain more fruits of life. But in the end, they were still not confident. The two of them did not make a move rashly. They sat at the side and waited. Time flew by quickly. After several years, a third person finally arrived at the Yellow Springs Island. It was the heavenly realm's venerable Sky Thunder Emperor. A few months later, another unrivaled expert from the evil god tribe arrived. Then, more and more people came to Yellow Springs Island. 10 years later, hundreds of people from each side came to Yellow Springs Island. The test they passed was different for each of them. It didn't mean that those with low cultivation couldn't pass the test. Therefore, there were people with high and low cultivation on both sides. They had been warned by the ancestral dragon and the non-human divine ancestor to stay away from the fruit of life. If anyone below the martial god level was struck by the roots of the fruit of life, they would really die. Everyone waited in silence. Suddenly, a burst of rich fragrance came from the fruit of life. This fragrance made people feel comfortable all over as all the pores on their bodies opened up. Some people's hidden injuries were quickly recovering. The life fruit had ripened. Everyone was shocked. Buzz! Buzz! The ancestral dragon and the non-human sacred ancestor were the fastest to react. They rushed toward the fruit of life. This time, when they approached the fruit tree of life, the fruit tree of life didn't attack. The life fruit had ripened. Ancestral dragon, die! The non-human divine ancestor suddenly roared, turned around, and charged toward the ancestral dragon. You're the one who's going to die. The ancestral dragon had the same thought as he charged at the non-human divine ancestor. The two martial god powerhouses were engaged in a fierce battle. Chapter 25:14, Only 7. The two martial god experts engaged in an intense battle. No one was allowed to approach the fruit of life. The people below the martial god also seized the opportunity and rushed toward the fruit tree of life. Both sides had more than 2 people each. How could 18 life fruits be enough to split? Naturally, an intense battle began. There were more than 100 chaotic battles, and the strength of both sides was similar. The battle was difficult to determine, and soon, someone fell. The heavenly Thunder Emperor was fighting a demigod from the evil god tribe. Qing Tsang, the Titan Bull, and the others all had their own opponents. The area around the fruit of life was boiling, and the energy was chaotic. Bang! Bang! The ancestral dragon and the non-human divine ancestor had fought for hundreds of rounds in the sky. Both sides wanted to obtain the life fruit, but they didn't want the other to obtain it. Naturally, they had to go all out. Don't linger in the battle. Snatch the fruit. The non-human divine ancestor sent a message to his subordinates. All of the evil god tribe members attacked the heaven realm beings with all their might. They then seized the opportunity to rush toward the life fruit. Not good, snatch the life fruit. The heaven realm's living beings also roared as they all pounced towards the life fruit. For a time, each of the 18 fruits of life was targeted by 10 people. Everyone surrounded the life fruit and started another round of chaotic battle. However, there were still fruits of life that were taken away. The first fruit of life had been taken by the demigod of the evil god tribe, but soon after, the heavenly Thunder Emperor had also obtained one. Both sides exchanged blows, and in the blink of an eye, a few fruits of life were taken away. Buzz! All of a sudden, an ordinary-looking member of the evil god race emitted a shocking blood-red light. Then, a drop of blood flew out and turned into a human figure. Its appearance could not be seen clearly, and the blood on its body squirmed as it emitted a shocking killing intent. Kill! The blood-red figure rushed out, and a blood-red light was like a sword, killing a few Heaven Realm creatures. Those few Heaven Emperor creatures were directly killed. Saint Ancestor Bloodheart. The ancestral dragon roared. Ha! Although my killing heart is far from recovered, I still have the power of a demigod. Let's see how you can block it. The non-human divine ancestor roared. The sacred ancestor Bloodheart had the power of a demigod and was almost immortal. He was too powerful. In the Heaven Realm, no one was his match except for the Heavenly Thunder Emperor. Wherever he went, all the creatures in the Heaven Realm were either killed or injured. Sacred ancestor Bloodheart took several life fruits in a row. Very quickly, all 18 life fruits were picked. Saint Ancestor Bloodheart set his eyes on the Heaven Realm beings who had picked the fruits of life and charged at them. Damn it! Don't even think about it, die! The ancestral dragon roared and turned into a true dragon. His body was covered in flames and his aura was rising. Ancestral dragon, you're crazy. Do you want to die? The non-human divine ancestor roared in shock. At most, well, die together. The ancestral dragon roared and charged at the non-human sacred ancestor. Boom! Boom! The non-human divine ancestor was knocked back and his body trembled. The ancestral dragon was going all out. He burned his life force to kill sacred ancestor Bloodheart and the non-human sacred ancestor. Now, the other race had obtained even more fruits of life. If they were to recover, the consequences would be severe. It would be better to die together with them. You're crazy. The non-human divine ancestor roared and didn't dare to fight. He dashed towards sacred ancestor Bloodheart, who turned into a beam of blood light and disappeared into the non-human divine ancestor. Let's go. The non-human divine ancestor shouted and rushed toward the depths of Yellow Spring Island. Stay here. The ancestral dragon roared and glared at the non-human divine ancestor as he pounced. The two of them fought fiercely, clashing continuously. The non-human divine ancestor was injured, but he didn't want to fight at all. He just wanted to run. Now that the alien races had gotten more fruits of life, he didn't need to risk his life to fight against the ancestral dragon. As long as he could recover in the future, they would be the ones to succeed. The ancestral dragon and the non-human saint ancestor went deep into the Netherworld Island, while the other non-human beings also rushed to the mountains and palaces. The Yellow Spring Island was vast, with countless mountains and palaces. Although the Heaven Realm beings pursued with all their might, their strength was no match for the other party, and they soon lost track of the foreign tribe. The ancestral dragon chased for a while, but he couldn't catch up with the non-human divine ancestor. The other party escaped and disappeared into the mountains. Zhu Long's expression was extremely ugly. He retreated and began to gather the Heaven Realm beings. He had just burned his life force origin, so he appeared to be a little weak and dispirited. Soon, the creatures of the Heavenly Realm gathered here. Senior Ancestral Dragon, you've burned your life source. Quickly swallow a life fruit to stabilize your injuries. A Heaven Realm being walked out and handed over a life fruit. Although the fruit of life was extremely precious and he was reluctant to part with it, he understood that the Ancestral Dragon was the key to the Heaven Realm. Without the Ancestral Dragon, it would be useless no matter how many fruits of life he obtained. Alright, I'll remember this life fruit. I'll give you the appropriate compensation. Ancestral Dragon nodded and didn't stand on ceremony. He took the life fruit and swallowed it to refine it. A few days later, the ancestral dragon's aura stabilized. As expected of the life fruit. Zhu Long sighed. The effect of the fruit of life was truly shocking. The energy of the fruit of life was still far from being refined, but he had stabilized it because of the consumption from burning his life source. In the future, as long as he continued to refine the life fruit, the injuries he had suffered in the past would slowly recover. How many life fruits did we get this time? Zhu Long asked. Senior Ancestral Dragon, I'll take one. I also have one. Immediately, those heaven realm beings who had obtained the life fruit walked out one after another. There were a total of 6, and with the one that the ancestral dragon had swallowed, there were 7 in total. The ancestral dragon and the beings of the heaven realm all had ugly expressions. In that case, the evil god tribe had obtained a total of 11. 11 pills are enough for Moke and Murderer Xin to recover. The ancestral dragon muttered with a gloomy face. Although Sacred Ancestor Bloodheart's injuries were severe and only a wisp of her bloodline was left, she would definitely recover with so many life fruits. This would be a great disaster for the heaven realm. Senior Ancestral Dragon, I'm willing to give this life fruit to you. Me too. Those who got the fruits of life all gave them to the ancestral dragon. They still knew the severity of the situation. Alright, I'll take them all. I'll heal my injuries first. If there's any more, I'll give it to the other injured experts to help them recover. Also, if you need anything, just tell me. Zulong said. At this time, he did not hold back. Moreover, the battle in the ancient past had been extremely tragic. Not only was the ancestral dragon injured, but there were also other experts. For example, the Peak Heavenly Emperor, the Titan Bull, and the 9 Lives Devilish Silkworm. However, their injuries had already recovered. In the heaven realm, just like them, there were many who had been injured in the ancient times. There were even demigods. Chapter 2514 Above the martial god realm. This netherworld island is full of mountains and palaces. It might contain some opportunities. Let's form a team and explore it. Then, the ancestral dragon looked at the mountains and got the heaven realm beings to form small teams and enter the mountains to explore and see if they could find any opportunities. As for Lu Ming, he was still on the island, comprehending the word battle 1. He had been on this island for 90 years. After so many years of comprehension, he had benefited a lot. The word battle was too exquisite. As Lu Ming comprehended it, his combat experience deepened greatly. Although he did not have any combat skills or divine abilities, Lu Ming's fighting spirit soared to the sky whenever he made a move. Every move he made was filled with powerful combat power. His previous battle skills and sacred arts were much more powerful now. The word combat was too intriguing. In other words, in the future, no matter what combat skills or divine abilities Lu Ming cultivated, the power would be enhanced. No matter what weapon he used, he would be able to display the strongest power. This was battle. As long as it was related to battle, it would be improved. Although Lu Ming's cultivation level had not improved in the decades that he had comprehended the battle character, his combat strength had increased by a notch. Now, he was even more confident. In the past, he didn't have much confidence when facing an unrivaled demigod. Now, he was confident that he could fight. Buzz. Whoosh. Boom. Boom. At the bottom of the cliff, Lu Ming's body flashed and he flew around, casting all kinds of divine powers. Under the enhancement of the battle character, the power of these divine powers was increased by a notch. This cultivation lasted for 9 days and 9 nights. Lu Ming only stopped after 9 days and 9 nights. Who? Lu Ming heaved a long sigh of relief, his eyes bright. Satisfying, this is really satisfying. Lu Ming laughed heartily. Kacha. At this moment, a crack appeared on the word battle. Then, more and more cracks appeared. Finally, with a bang, it exploded. It was exactly the same as the statue from before. Lu Ming had completely understood the word battle. When the battle word cracked, the void flickered, and the man with transparent wings reappeared. Not bad. To be able to fully comprehend this battle formula within 100 years, you have good talent. Yes. The transparent winged man nodded, and a hint of excitement flashed through the depths of his eyes. Senior, can I enter the next stage now? Lu Ming said. Next round? That's all, this is the last stage. The man with the transparent wings smiled. The last stage? Then I can go to the Yellow Springs Island. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Okay, I'll send you there. The man with the transparent wings nodded and waved his hand. A disc array flew out and hovered above Lu Ming's head. A beam of light shot out from the disc array and enveloped Lu Ming. Lu Ming felt that he had stepped into the teleportation array. The next moment, his body disappeared from there. He spun in the air. After a while, Lu Ming found himself in a wide hall. Where is this place? Could it be the Yellow Springs Island? Lu Ming was a little stunned. He had thought that he would appear on the island, but he had not expected to appear in a hall. Lu Ming looked around. The hall was empty except for a statue at the very top. Lu Ming was shocked. Wasn't this the statue that he had been looking at previously? However, the statue here did not seem to be in control at all. Lu Ming was a little disappointed. At this moment, a shadow flickered in the sky, and a figure appeared. It was a refined middle-aged man in a white robe. This middle-aged man was the one who had appeared above the Fruit of Life and warned Zhu Long and the others. Congratulations on passing all the checkpoints and coming here. The elegant middle-aged man smiled. Lu Ming of the junior generation greets the senior. Lu Ming cupped his fists. I'm White Tooth. Lu Ming, you've mastered the path of domination. It's a rare talent for you. It's very similar to what Master has cultivated. The elegant middle-aged man smiled. The Tao of a sovereign. Senior, is there really such a Tao in the world? This is a name I randomly came up with. Lu Ming asked hurriedly. Randomly named? Ha ha ha, that's a coincidence. That's right, there's indeed the way of the Master in the world. Once one cultivates the way of the Master and breaks through to the martial god realm, he can control the divine power of the Master, which is an extremely high-level divine power. White Tooth said. The war god level, and a sovereign's divine power? Lu Ming was puzzled. That's something for the battle god realm. Your cultivation is still weak, so you don't have to worry about it. Of course. Baya said, most importantly, you've passed all the stages and arrived here. You've also cultivated the path of a ruler and can inherit Master's inheritance. Inheritance? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Let me tell you, my Master is an extremely powerful existence with unparalleled talent and unfathomable cultivation base. The entire Netherworld Mountain is one of my Master's treasures. White Tooth said. Lu Ming gasped, his heart in turmoil. The entire Netherworld Mountain was a treasure of Master White Tooth. Heavens! The area of Netherworld Mountain was comparable to the 9 heavenly regions of the Heaven Realm combined. It was vast and there were countless creatures living there, even martial gods. In addition, Lu Ming had encountered several experts on the Netherworld Island. The man with transparent wings and the elegant man in front of him were both unfathomable. Lu Ming suspected that they were both at the martial god realm. It was obvious that the Master White Tooth had mentioned was stronger than the martial god. Someone even stronger than the martial god actually existed in this world. Before this, Lu Ming had thought that the martial god was the most powerful existence in the world. However, it seemed that he was far from it. There were existences even more powerful than the war god. It was said that Netherworld Mountain came from beyond the sky. Therefore, there must be an existence stronger than the martial god realm in the so-called beyond the sky. Lu Ming's heart was filled with yearning and anticipation. With his cultivation base, he was almost at the peak. In the entire heaven realm, the evil god tribe did not have many opponents. Now that he knew that there were stronger people above the martial god realm, Lu Ming had even higher goals. I can obtain the inheritance of such an existence. At the thought of this, Lu Ming's heart was burning. My master's name is Jingyu, and this statue here is my master. You must have seen my master's statue in many places before, right? That's because this treasure belongs to my master, and that's why there are many places where my master's statue is enshrined. White Tooth said. Lu Ming had a sudden realization. He finally understood why there was a statue in every cursed land. Unfortunately, my master is dead. He was harmed by evil people. Meanwhile, we and this netherworld mountain are sealed here. For generations, we will never be able to leave. Bai Ya's eyes flashed with a hint of ferocity and killing intent. Chapter 25:16, Shocking Feather Inheritance. A painting by Ya merely exuded a trace of his aura, but Lu Ming felt a chill all over his body. With his current cultivation, facing Bai Ya was like an ant facing an elephant. He had no way of resisting. Terrifying, extremely terrifying. This was Lu Ming's feeling. He had a feeling that if White Teeth wanted to attack him, he could kill him with a snap of his fingers. This was something that neither the ancestral dragon nor the non-human race's divine ancestor felt. Lu Ming was even more shocked. An existence like White Tooth had actually been sealed here, unable to leave for generations. Also, the owner of the White Teeth, Jingyu, was definitely even more powerful. Yet, he was killed by someone. How powerful must their enemy be? Also, there were many cursed lands in Netherworld Mountain. Were they also the means of their enemies? Many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. However, there is always a way out. There is always a chance of survival in the dark. Every 10,000 years, the seal of Netherworld Mountain will loosen, and you people from the outside world can come in. We've been looking for a suitable candidate to inherit Master's legacy. Unfortunately, there are only a few people who come in from the outside every time, and those with great talent are extremely rare. We've been waiting for a long time, and you've finally come. White Tooth said. Senior, if you want me to inherit Senior Jing Ye's legacy, there should be some requirements, right? Lu Ming said. Bai Ya looked at Lu Ming with admiration. You're very smart. Not bad, you do have a request. I can tell you that Master was framed and wronged by others back then. He died with injustice, and his bloodline is forever sealed here. Therefore, if you want to inherit Master's inheritance, you must swear on your life source that you will avenge Master in the future, clear his injustice, and save us. Indeed, Lu Ming knew that it was not simple. Senior, given your cultivation level or Senior Jingyu's, how can I do it if I'm not his match? Lu Ming smiled bitterly. You may not be able to do it now, but it doesn't mean you won't be able to do it in the future. There's no time limit for this matter. With your talent, you might be able to surpass Master in the future. Although this is difficult, there's still some hope. I can tell you that what you've obtained and comprehended before is only one part of Master's inheritance. If you can obtain Master's inheritance, you'll be able to avoid many detours in the future. Bai Ya started to tempt Lu Ming. Lu Ming's mind was racing. The owner of the White Fangs, Jingyu, was obviously a terrifying existence. His cultivation had exceeded Lu Ming's imagination. There would definitely be great danger in avenging such a person. However, Lu Ming immediately thought of the evil god tribe. If the non-human race's divine ancestor and the Bloodheart divine ancestor were to recover, he probably wouldn't even be able to get past the evil god tribe. Everyone in the heaven realm would have to die, including his family and friends. As for agreeing to Bai Ya's request to avenge Jingyu, that was something that would happen many years later. Even if he failed, he would be the only one to die. Furthermore, if he could obtain the inheritance of an existence on Jing Ye's level, he might have a way to fight against the evil god race. At the thought of this, Lu Ming had already made a decision. Alright, Senior, I agree. Lu Ming said. Alright, you're right. Bai Ya was overjoyed and said, however, you still have to swear on your life source. Swearing on life source was completely different from a blood oath. A martial supreme could already resist a blood oath. However, if one were to make an oath on one's life force origin and use it directly on one's life force origin, even a martial god would find it difficult to resist it, let alone a martial supreme. If one were to break the oath, they would be subject to terrible punishment. At once, Lu Ming followed by Ya's request and swore the life origin oath. Senior, I still don't know who Senior Jingyu's enemy is. Lu Ming said. They didn't even know who their enemy was, so how could they take revenge? Do you know about the Great Void Holy Dynasty? Baya asked after a moment of silence. Great Void Holy Dynasty? I've never heard of it. Lu Ming shook his head. Haven't you heard? It's normal that you haven't heard of it. Those fellows must have sealed us in a very remote place. You should have heard of the Boundless Galaxy, right? White Tooth said. The Boundless Galaxy. Lu Ming was even more dumbfounded. I've never heard of the Boundless Galaxy either, but what about the Primal Universe? You should have heard of it, right? White Tooth said. Lu Ming shook his head vigorously. You haven't even heard of the Primal Universe? Baiyo was dumbfounded. He looked at Lu Ming, tongue-tied. Lu Ming could not help but touch his nose. He had really not heard of it. Could it be that not hearing of it was a very embarrassing thing? Where did those guys seal us? We haven't even heard of the primeval universe. No wonder so few geniuses have entered in the past few years. Ruthless. Those guys are really ruthless. They want us to never be able to make a comeback. White Teeth's face was gloomy as he gritted his teeth. Lu Ming was very smart and did not say a word. After a long while, White Teeth finally calmed down. You don't know anything. Even if I tell you, you won't be able to explain it clearly. How about this, you will inherit Master's inheritance first. After Baya finished speaking, a picture scroll appeared in his hand. When he unrolled the picture scroll, a young man was drawn on it. He was extraordinarily handsome and extremely lifelike. It was none other than the owner of the White Fangs, Jingyu. Moreover, the dominator's will that was emitted from this portrait was shockingly rich. It was many times more intense than any statue that Lu Ming had come into contact with. Lu Ming, use your path of domination to resonate with Master's portrait. Then, you will naturally be able to inherit Master's legacy. White Tooth said. Lu Ming nodded and immediately activated the path of domination. As expected, the moment he used his sovereign Dao, the scroll began to exude a violet gold light. After a moment, the picture scroll turned into a ray of light and flew into Lu Ming's mind. At this moment, Lu Ming seemed to see a young man standing in his sea of consciousness with his hands behind his back. His entire body was emitting a dazzling purple gold light. It was a vast Dominator-'s will. Fight! At this moment, the young man shouted, and the word fight flew out. The word battle was filled with an ancient aura, as if it had transcended countless years and come from the long river of time. It seemed to represent the source of all the battles in this world. It was mysterious and unfathomable. It was many times more mysterious than the battle character that Lu Ming had previously comprehended. After a long while, all the strange phenomena in Lu Ming's mind disappeared. There were only two things left in his sea of consciousness. It was a painting. It was an ancient battle character. As for other information, there was nothing at all. There was also no cultivation technique or secret manual. Lu Ming was greatly disappointed. How is it? What did you obtain from Master's inheritance? White Teeth asked. Just two things. A picture scroll and an ancient battle character. There's no other information. Lu Ming was a little disappointed. I see. I understand now. Master has sealed everything in the scroll. Your cultivation must be too low, so you can't get any information. White Tooth said. Chapter 25:17, 180 Life Fruits. Lu Ming was really speechless. His cultivation was too low. One had to know that with his body and the path of a ruler, he was confident that he could fight a demigod. Now, in the entire heaven realm, the evil god realm, and the primordial realm, how many people were his match? However, in Bai Ya's eyes, his cultivation level was too low. Don't worry. As long as you make a breakthrough in your cultivation, the seal in the scroll will be opened. Not only will it contain Master's cultivation technique, but it will also contain some information about Master's enemies. White Tooth said. N. Lu Ming nodded. Boy, you look very disappointed. You really don't know how lucky you are. Do you know how envious I am? Do you know how profound the word battle you obtained is? What kind of background does he have? That's the ancient word, origin, do you understand? If it were in the prehistoric universe, I'm afraid countless terrifying existences would fight each other to the death. White Teeth cried out, his eyes filled with envy. Ancient word of origin? Lu Ming continued to be dumbfounded. He realized that he could not understand what Baiya was saying. Forget it. You won't understand even if I say so much. Remember, when you travel in the primeval universe in the future, you must try not to expose the secret of this battle character formula. Otherwise, it will bring you a fatal disaster. Also, the battle character that you comprehended before is only 1/1,000,000th, no, 1/1000,000,000th of the original ancient character. Therefore, you should study this battle character more in the future. The benefits it will bring you are unimaginable. This battle character was discovered by Master by accident. He hasn't comprehended it much, so others don't know about it at all. Otherwise, those guys wouldn't have left behind an inheritance. White Teeth said a bunch of things. Lu Ming did not seem to understand. He could only remember everything in his heart. Also, this is for you. A storage ring appeared in Bai Ya's hand and he threw it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming received it and was overjoyed. A storage ring. There should be some treasures inside. Lu Ming's spiritual senses probed into it. The next moment, Lu Ming revealed a look of disappointment. The items in the storage ring were very simple. There was a sword and a huge wooden box. With a single thought, the combat sword appeared in Lu Ming's hands. This weapon, Lu Ming sensed it and then channeled the world energy into it. He immediately felt that this combat sword was like a bottomless pit. There was a strong devouring power that was frantically devouring the world energy in his body. Lu Ming was so frightened that he quickly cut off the connection between him and the combat sword. It was so terrifying. Lu Ming felt that if this combat sword were to burst out, its power would be many times stronger than the Heaven Dao soldier. This is a divine weapon, a weapon specially used by a martial god. With your current cultivation, you can't control it at all. Its energy will be sucked dry. You can use it when you have a breakthrough in your cultivation. White Tooth said. A divine artifact. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He finally knew the name of the martial god's special weapon. This was because both sides had used weapons of this level in the battle between the ancestral dragon and the divine ancestor. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Such a weapon was a priceless treasure. Lu Ming kept it back into his storage ring and took out the wooden box. When he opened it, a strong medicinal fragrance immediately assailed his nose. In the wooden boxes were many crystal clear fruits. The life essence was shockingly rich. Lu Ming was shocked. He felt that the medicinal fragrance emitted by the fruit was very similar to that of the life or death pill. However, it was much richer. This is a life fruit. Baiya explained, the fruit tree of life on the Netherworld Island will bear fruit once in a long period of time. However, for you outsiders, the myriad tribulation will only come once. Therefore, I've collected the fruits that bear at other times. There are a total of 180 fruits of life here. They are quite effective. You can take them. Thump. Boom. Lu Ming's heart was beating wildly. The fruits of life, and 180 at that. Overjoyed. Lu Ming was truly overjoyed. Lu Ming ignored Bai Ya's not bad one. Not only was the medicinal effect pretty good, it was simply a supreme treasure. Lu Ming had seen the effects of the life or death pill before. The injuries that the Titan longhorn beetle and the 9 lives devilish silkworm could not recover from even after countless years had mostly been healed in a few days. The fruit of life was even more effective. The ancestral dragon and the non-human divine ancestors had fought so hard for the fruit of life. But now, Lu Ming had obtained 180 of them at once. Lu Ming quickly closed the lid of the wooden box and kept it. Lu Ming was overjoyed and satisfied. He had gained a lot this time. Alright, I've explained and given you what I should. Now, I'll send you out. White Tooth said. How do we get out? Lu Ming asked. There's a boat on one side of the Netherworld Island. You can take the boat and leave directly. I'll send a message to everyone on the island immediately. White Tooth said. Senior, wait. Lu Ming called out hurriedly. What's the matter? White Teeth asked. Senior, are there any 3-eyed people on this island? Lu Ming asked. That's right. There's even a martial god among them. White Tooth said. Senior, can you kill that 3-eyed martial god? Lu Ming said. If they could kill the divine ancestor of the non-human race, everything would be solved. No, no. Baya shook his head. We've been sealed here and are under many restrictions. We can't help you kill. Those people are your enemies, right? It's better for you to deal with them yourself. If you can even deal with such weak enemies, how are you going to face stronger enemies in the future? How are you going to avenge Master? After saying that, Baya's figure moved and disappeared without a trace. Lu Ming was simply speechless. Weak? That was the war god, and he was weak. Lu Ming finally realized that his values and thoughts were completely different from Baya's. There was no way to compare them. Not long after White Tooth left, he returned. Alright, I've already spread the news. I'll send you out now. With that, Baya waved his hand and Lu Ming disappeared. The next moment, Lu Ming appeared on a mountain peak. Big Brother Qing Song. The moment Lu Ming appeared, he saw a few people flying in one direction in the distance. Brother Lu Ming. Qing Song was overjoyed to see Lu Ming and flew over. Brother Lu Ming, let's go. Senior Ancestral Dragon has gathered us. Qing Song said. Alright. Lu Ming nodded and followed Qing Song and the rest in a certain direction. Not long after, they met up not far from the Fruit of Life. Little Qing, Dan, Lu Ming saw Xian Yanqing and Dandan. Chapter 2518 Returning to Heaven. Speaking of which, they had not seen each other for nearly 150 years since they entered the Yellow Springs Island. They were naturally happy to meet again. Moreover, Lu Ming noticed that both Xian Yanqing and Dandan had a huge increase in their cultivation. Xia Menqing's cultivation had already reached the peak of 7-star Heavenly Emperor. Dandan had also declined a lot and was also at the 6-star Heavenly Emperor realm. At this moment, floating bridges appeared on all the islands in the Yellow Springs Sea. On those islands, figures were running toward the Yellow Springs Island. They were those who had not arrived at the Yellow Springs Island and had stayed on other islands. Soon, Lu Ming saw Lu Xiangxiang, Ouyang Moli, Long Chen, Huang Ling, and the others. His friends were all fine and their cultivation levels had all improved greatly. Lu Ming was relieved. After a few hours, no one appeared on those islands. Everyone's here, let's go, let's go. Zhu Long led everyone and rushed to one side of the Yellow Spring Island. Following the coastline, they soon discovered 2 huge warships. Boom! 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 One of the battleships roared and started to move, speeding forward. The divine ancestor of the non-human race and some other experts of the evil god tribe were up there. The evil god tribe had actually left first. One had to know that there were still some evil god tribe members on the island who had yet to board the ship. It was obvious that the non-human divine ancestor was afraid that the ancestral dragon would fight him to the death, so he had abandoned some of the evil god tribe members and sailed the ship first. This guy is really despicable. Zhu Long said angrily. He had really wanted to fight the non-human divine ancestor to the death, but the divine ancestor was avoiding him. The remaining members of the evil god race sighed helplessly as they watched the non-human race's divine ancestor and the others leave. They had been abandoned, but luckily, the Yellow Springs world was huge. Staying here was no different from staying in the evil god world. When they saw the Heaven Realm powerhouse's malicious gaze, their expressions changed, and they ran in another direction, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. Let's go. Zhu Long called for everyone to board the heaven-connecting battleship. Soon, everyone boarded the warship. The warship began to move, braving the wind and waves, and sailed forward. Not long after, a huge vortex appeared in front of them. The alien race and their sky-reaching battleships rushed into the vortex one after another. This time, they didn't throw everyone out like when they first came in. The two sky-reaching battleships followed the vortex and landed below. Then, the water of the netherworld flowed forward, forming a large river. Was this the source of the Yellow Spring River? Everyone couldn't help but think so. The Yellow Spring River started from here and then returned to the Yellow Spring world after one round, forming a cycle. Therefore, as long as they followed the Yellow River, they would reach the battlefield outside the two-world city of the Taiching Heavenly region one day. However, it would probably take a long time. The battlefield outside Two-World City was already relatively close to Netherworld Mountain. If they went around here, it would probably be very far. Everyone searched for a place to cultivate. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and the rest gathered together and chatted for a while before they went their separate ways. Lu Ming sat cross-legged on the deck. With a single thought, the picture scroll and the word battle appeared in his mind. Lu Ming's attention was focused on the word battle. Instantly, Lu Ming felt that there was an endless mysterious concept emerging. It was an extremely mysterious feeling that could only be sensed but not described. It was extremely mysterious and unfathomable. This was Lu Ming's feeling about the word battle. The battle character that Lu Ming had comprehended in the third stage previously originated from here, but it was just a superficial understanding. Lu Ming started to focus on his comprehension. The more he comprehended, the deeper he understood about combat. The Yellow Spring River was really long. They had been traveling like this for 2 years. At this moment, the non-human divine ancestor made his move. He forcefully tore open a space crack and charged into it with the sky-reaching battleship. That is the 9 Nether Heavenly Domain. Many people saw it and recognized the world behind the spatial rift. It was obvious that the non-human divine ancestor and the others had entered the netherworld and planned to return from there. Soon, the space closed. They continued to move forward. Once they reached the 9 Nether Heavenly Domain, they would not be far from the Taiching Heavenly Domain. Everyone stopped cultivating and started to wait. As expected, not long after, the ancestral dragon made his move. Under his attack, the space cracked open. From the crack in space, one could see that they were facing the battlefield outside Two-World City. Let's go. The ancestral dragon took the warship through the space crack and returned to the battlefield outside Two-World City. He's back. Many people sighed. This time, he had been gone for more than 100 years in Netherworld Mountain. He had experienced a lot. Now that he was back, he felt like he was in a dream. Buzz. Buzz. Whoosh. Everyone flew out of the sky-reaching battleship and headed for Two-World City. Very quickly, they were approaching Two-World City. Senior Ancestral Dragon and the others are back. As they approached, the experts above Two-World City noticed them and quickly opened the array to let them in. After entering, he found out that the Heaven Realm and the Evil God Tribe had not made any moves for the past 100 years. They had been in a stalemate. Then, everyone took their leave. This time, many of them had a fortuitous encounter in Netherworld Mountain. Especially on the last island, the Netherworld Island, many people had opportunities and needed to find a place to cultivate in seclusion and digest it. The ancestral dragon left and returned to the lair of Zulong. He needed to use the fruit of life to recover from his injuries. Time was of the essence, and the non-human divine ancestor would be able to recover as quickly as possible. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Dandan, Lu Xiangxiang, and the rest would stay in Two World City for the time being. Lu Ming, I'm leaving too. I'm a 6-star heavenly emperor now. I'm going to find a place to cultivate in seclusion and break through to the peak of the heavenly emperor realm. I'm going to recover to my previous peak. Dandan bade farewell to Lu Ming. Dandan, this is for you. Lu Ming waved his hand and a jade box flew to Dandan. Dandan reached out and took it. When she opened it, there was an extremely strong medicinal fragrance coming out. Dandan's pupils contracted, revealing a fiery look, and she exclaimed, "This is the fruit of life." "Kid, how did you get the fruit of life?" He remembered that Lu Ming was not around when they were fighting for the life fruit. "Shush, lower your voice." Lu Ming glanced at Dandan. Fortunately, there were only the two of them here and no one else. "Who am I?" "Let me tell you, I have many fruits of life," Lu Ming said smugly. "Really?" Dandan was skeptical. "Nonsense, of course it's true. You can use this fruit of life to restore your cultivation to its peak," Lu Ming said. The fruit of life was not only able to heal injuries, it also had the power to steal the heaven and earth's fortune. In fact, even if an uninjured person consumed the fruit of life, its effects would still be extremely heaven-defying. It could help people to strengthen their foundation, develop their potential, improve their foundation, and even break through their cultivation realm. Chapter 2519 Doubts about cultivation. If you really have more, then give me another one. Dandan's eyes lit up and she started to look at Lu Ming's body. "I knew you were greedy." Lu Ming pursed his lips. "Hey, what do you mean by insatiable greed? The war with the alien race is imminent, and I'm doing this to improve my cultivation. I wasn't far from the demigod realm in ancient times. If you give me another fruit of life, I'll definitely be able to break through to the demigod realm." Dandan shouted. "Alright, I'll give you another one." Lu Ming waved his hand and another jade box flew to Dandan. Dandan took a look and swallowed a mouthful of saliva. She looked at Lu Ming with even more fervor in her eyes. "Quickly get lost, there's nothing else," Lu Ming berated. In the end, Dandan left the place reluctantly. After Dandan left, Lu Ming found Xian Yanqing and gave him 2 fruits of life. Xian Yanqing's cultivation base was at the peak of the heavenly emperor realm. Although Xian Yanqing wasn't injured, he could use the 2 fruits of life to unleash his potential and help him break through to demigod level. After that, Lu Ming called Bubbles over. Lu Xiangxiang, Ouyang Moli, Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others each gave one. Lu Xiangxiang, Ouyang Moli, and the others' cultivation was not very high yet. After consuming a life fruit, they would definitely transform and have endless potential. In the future, their cultivation path would definitely be smooth and their improvement would be rapid. After that, Lu Ming returned to the Yuan continent and gave his parents and Qiu Yu a fruit of life each. With Lu Ming's help, Lu Ming's parents had initially refined the fruit of life. Their cultivation had skyrocketed and they broke through all the barriers. In just a month, they had broken through to the martial sage realm. The fruit of life was simply too heaven-defying. Even the martial god was greatly affected by it, so its medicinal effects could be seen. Using it on a martial emperor was simply a waste of God's gift. However, Lu Ming did not care. Moreover, it was impossible for martial emperors and martial saints to refine the fruit of life. If they ate it, their bodies would probably explode from the medicinal power. However, with the help of Lu Ming's path of domination, there was no problem. Lu Ming was only satisfied when Li Ping and Lu Yuntian broke through to the martial sage realm and their lifespans reached more than 100,000 years. Furthermore, the life fruit's medicinal effects were too heaven-defying. They were still far from refining it. In the days to come, their cultivation would definitely skyrocket. With the help of the life fruit, their comprehension of the laws was shockingly fast. Given time, breaking through to the martial supreme realm would be a piece of cake. As for Qiu Yu, Lu Xiangxiang, and the rest, their cultivation would also improve by leaps and bounds in the coming days. After one round, Lu Ming had consumed 15 fruits of life. After settling these matters, Lu Ming calmed down and thought about his next cultivation path. He had two options. One was to cultivate the seven gods' mysterious technique and break through the physical body. He had already cultivated his physical body to the peak of the heavenly emperor realm. His next step would be to start breaking through to the martial god realm. However, the seventh level of the seven gods' mysterious technique only had 4 words, 10,000 yuan in one. This made him scratch his head and have no clue. After thinking for a while, Lu Ming decided to put his physical body down and cultivate the path of domination. He was only at the peak emperor realm on the ruler's Tao. He still had a long way to go before he could break through to the heavenly emperor realm. Furthermore, Jing Ye's painting was a reference to the Tao of a sovereign, making it much easier to cultivate. Having made up his mind, Lu Ming began to focus on comprehending the path of the ruler. Now that he was a peak emperor, his next step would be to break through to the heavenly emperor realm. Lu Ming focused on cultivation. In the blink of an eye, a few months had passed. Lu Ming stopped cultivating and a look of doubt flashed in his eyes. When he was cultivating the path of a god, he felt like there was a powerful energy in the world that was preventing him from breaking through. That power seemed to be the power of this world, the power of the heavenly Tao. What's going on? Why is the power of this world trying to stop me? Lu Ming furrowed his brows tightly and could not understand. He started to feel a little anxious. He did not have much time left. Now that the non-human sacred ancestor had returned with 11 fruits of life, he and sacred ancestor Bloodheart would definitely consume them to recover their cultivation. Once they recovered, a shocking battle would break out between the two sides. The final battle was about to begin. Lu Ming had to make a breakthrough in his cultivation before that. He had to make a breakthrough in both his physical body and his Tao of domination. Otherwise, he wouldn't be a match for the non-human divine ancestor and the sacred ancestor Bloodheart. Let's go ask Senior Ancestral Dragon. Lu Ming planned to ask the Ancestral Dragon about it. Moreover, he still had a large number of fruits of life. He planned to give some of them away to increase the combat strength of the heaven realm as much as possible. At the thought of this, Lu Ming moved and tore open space. Not long after, he arrived at the lair of Zulong and flew towards the mountain where Zulong lived. When he arrived at the hall at the highest point, a figure flashed and stopped Lu Ming. It was one of the top 10 battle beasts, the 5 elements Qilin. Senior, I have something to do. I want to visit Senior Ancestral Dragon. Lu Ming cupped his fists. Senior Ancestral Dragon is recuperating in seclusion. I'm afraid it's not convenient for him to see you. The 5 elements Qilin said. Are you healing your injuries in seclusion? Lu Ming sighed. If he had known that this would happen, he would have asked Zhu Long when he first came back. It's fine. At this moment, a figure flashed. The figure of the Ancestral Dragon appeared. Senior, you, the 5-star Qilin was taken aback. This is just a projection of me. My main body is refining the fruit of life to heal my injuries. The Ancestral Dragon smiled. Lu Ming and the 5 elements Qilin heaved a long sigh of relief. Wuxing, you may leave. Zulong said. Yes. The 5 elements Qilin bowed and accepted the order. He then left. Lu Ming, why are you looking for me? Zhu Long smiled. Senior, I've come this time because I have something to give you. Lu Ming took out a storage ring and passed it to Zhu Long. Zhu Long took it curiously and scanned it with his spiritual sense. The next moment, his eyes opened wide and his mouth opened wide. Initially, with his temperament, there were not many things in the heaven realm that could shock him like this. However, there were such things in the storage ring that Lu Ming gave him. This was because Lu Ming had a total of 100 fruits of life in his storage ring. Lu Ming had obtained a total of 180 fruits of life. He had used 15 previously and had 165 left. Lu Ming kept 65 for himself and gave the rest to the ancestor dragon. Fruits of life, these are fruits of life, so many. The ancestral dragon muttered to himself and even his breathing became heavy. Lu Ming, how did you get so many life fruits? Zhu Long said in disbelief. I've had a fortuitous encounter on Yellow Springs Island. I've plundered all the life fruits that the island has borne over the years. I'll give these fruits of life to you, senior. You can use them to heal your injuries. Lu Ming smiled and continued. No, this is too much. Keep some for yourself. Zulong said. This junior has already kept some. Lu Ming smiled. Chapter 2520 Martial God's Secret. Zhu Long was speechless. After a while, he said, in fact, we've already obtained 7 fruits. 5 is enough for me to heal my injuries. However, in the ancient war, many experts of the heaven realm were seriously injured and their life essence was damaged. It has been so many years that they can't recover. These fruits of life can be given to them. This way, the strength of the heaven realm can be greatly improved. Then it's all up to senior. Lu Ming said. He gave these fruits of life to Zhu Long for the same reason. Lu Ming, you've done a great service for the heaven realm this time. If you have any requests, just tell us. Zhu Long smiled. Senior, I really do have a question to ask. What is 10,000 yuan returned to 1? Lu Ming asked. 10,000 yuan returned to 1. Zhu Long sized Lu Ming up and asked, your cultivation has already reached this stage, right? Show it to me. All right. Lu Ming nodded. His muscles trembled and his qi and blood churned like a dragon. His aura was shocking. This was the power of the physical body. Then, his body glowed with a dazzling purple gold light. Lu Ming's Tao of domination was unleashed to the extreme. Good, good, good. The ancestral dragon's face was filled with excitement and he said, good, 3 times. He could sense that Lu Ming's cultivation was extremely powerful. Now that he had confirmed it, he could not hide his excitement. His physical body was a peak heavenly emperor, and his Tao of domination had also reached an astonishing level. It was simply a miracle that he was so young. He understood that he had underestimated Lu Ming. Lu Ming had most likely obtained unimaginable opportunities in this trip to the netherworld world. However, the stronger Lu Ming was, the better it was for the heaven realm. He was happier. Lu Ming, you must have reached a bottleneck in your cultivation. Zhu Long asked. That's right, please give me some pointers, senior. Lu Ming nodded. Yes. The next step in your path of the physical body is the martial god realm. If you want to break through to the martial god realm, you must have some understanding of this realm. The martial god realm is different from all the realms before the martial god realm. The martial god realm is known as a god, but it has actually reached another realm. Before the martial god realm, you can say that it is the first step of cultivation. When you reach the peak of the heavenly emperor realm, you have completed the first step. The martial god realm is the second step of cultivation. Zhu Long explained in detail. Lu Ming listened attentively and was shocked at the same time. The training before becoming a martial god was only the first step. Becoming a martial god was the second step. Didn't that mean that the second step of cultivation also had many realms? The martial god realm is very special. It mainly cultivates divine power. Zhu Long said. Shin power? Lu Ming was puzzled. He thought of the power used by the ancestral dragon and the divine ancestor of the non-human race. It was extremely powerful. Was that divine power? Yes, Shin power. But if you want to cultivate Shin power, you have to fuse 10,000 elements into one. What is Lu elements returned to one? It means to mix and merge all powers together, such as laws, wills, great Taos, heavenly Tao, divine arts, physical power, world power, and so on. No matter what power or system you cultivate, in the end, you have to merge all of them together and transform them into a higher level power, which is divine power. Only by reaching this step can one step into the martial god realm. In fact, the so-called unrivaled powerhouses, or demigods, have already reached this step. They have already fused Lu elements into one and ignited a wisp of divine fire in their bodies. Zulong said. Everything must be united. Then, the small world in my body. Lu Ming asked in shock. Everything must be combined into one and transformed into divine power. Divine power is supreme and powerful. The power of the world cannot withstand a single blow from divine power. The way of the god that you're cultivating will transform into god power when you step into the martial god realm. It's an extremely terrifying divine power. Zhu Long was a little envious when he said this, but it immediately turned into a sigh. Unfortunately, it's impossible for a god to be born in this world. It's impossible to give birth to a god. What's going on? Lu Ming asked hurriedly. He felt that he was about to come into contact with some core secrets. Ow! Zhu Long sighed again. After a moment of silence, he said, the conditions of the heaven realm, primordial realm, or the evil god realm cannot support the breakthrough of a god. In other words, the conditions are too poor, and the most they can do is cultivate to the demigod realm. You can only cultivate to the demigod level. Lu Ming was at a loss for words. After a while, he asked again, then, Senior, you and the foreign race's divine ancestor, you're just curious about how we reached the martial god realm, right? That's because we're not from the heaven realm or the evil god realm. We came from the outside, and when we came, we were already in the martial god realm. Zulong said. What? This time, Lu Ming was really dumbfounded. The ancestral dragon, the divine ancestor, and the other martial gods weren't born in the heaven realm or the evil god tribe. They had come from the outside. This was beyond his expectations. Is it the desolate universe outside? Many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. He recalled some words that Baya had told him. Senior, does that mean that we can go outside and break through? Lu Ming asked. Ow! Zhu Long sighed again. After a while of silence, he shook his head and said, Now, we can't get out. Can't get out? Lu Ming was even more puzzled. This matter involves a lot of things, but now is not the time to tell you. I will tell you when I have the chance in the future. Zhu Long shook his head and changed the topic, therefore, it's not suitable for you to cultivate your physical body now. No matter how much you cultivate, you can only reach the demigod realm at most. It won't have a decisive effect on the overall situation. Now, you must focus on cultivating the path of domination. As long as you break through to the heavenly emperor realm, you will have the hope of fighting against a martial god. At least, you can do it in the heaven realm. Lu Ming collected his thoughts and suppressed the doubts in his heart. He said, Senior, when I cultivated the path of a ruler, I always felt that this world was blocking me. It was as if the heavenly Tao was suppressing me. I wonder what was going on. That's normal. This is because the Tao of domination is too domineering. Ancestral Dragon said, the ruler Tao can rule the world and is extremely domineering. Even outside, it is a rare power. The heaven Tao is afraid. Are you afraid? That's right. Once you break through to the heavenly emperor realm, you'll be able to rule this world with your ruler's Tao, including the heavenly Tao. That's why the heavenly Tao is afraid and wants to suppress you and prevent you from breaking through. That's why the heavenly tribulation was so powerful when you broke through to the martial supreme realm. It was the heavenly Tao that stopped you. Zhu Long explained. Lu Ming was enlightened. No wonder it was so difficult for him to break through to the martial supreme realm. The power of the heavenly tribulation was beyond his imagination. The reason was that the heavenly Tao was afraid. Lu Ming was also speechless. Chapter 2521 Dragon's Sovereign Peak. If you want to make a breakthrough, you have to keep meditating on the Tao of a sovereign, so that your understanding and application of the Tao of a sovereign can become deeper and deeper. At the same time, you have to constantly improve your combat strength. When your combat strength reaches a certain level, you will be able to break through the heavenly Daos obstruction with your powerful strength and forcefully enter the heavenly emperor realm. Zulong said. Lu Ming suddenly felt enlightened. As a martial god realm expert, Zulong pointed him in the right direction. In his future cultivation, he would focus on the Tao of domination and the battle formula. As long as his combat power was strong enough, he would be able to break through the heavenly Tao and step into the heavenly emperor realm. Many thanks, Senior. Lu Ming was overjoyed and thanked him. No need for thanks, Lu Ming. Now, you're the variable in this war and the hope of the heaven realm. The outcome of this war depends on you. Zulong said. Senior's words are too serious. Lu Ming said. It's not a serious matter. It's a fact. Now, our heaven realm is completely passive. The non-human divine ancestor has obtained enough fruits of life. He and sacred ancestor Bloodheart will definitely try their best to recover. Even if I fight the non-human divine ancestor with my life, he'll be able to stop me and give sacred ancestor Bloodheart some time to recover. By the time sacred ancestor Bloodheart recovers, we'll be in trouble. If I don't go fight the divine ancestor, I won't be able to stop them by myself when they recover. The other demigods won't be able to reach the martial god realm. We're in a passive position. But you're different. As long as you follow the Tao of domination and step into the heavenly emperor realm, you'll be able to dominate the power of the heavens and earth. You'll be able to fight against a martial god. Therefore, you're the hope of the heaven realm now. Zulong said a long string of words. Lu Ming also fell silent. He understood that the ancestral dragon was right. I will try my best to break through to the heavenly emperor realm. Lu Ming nodded solemnly. With the help of the fruit of life, the non-human divine ancestor Mok and I will recover in a few hundred years at most. However, Saint Ancestor Bloodheart's injuries are more serious, so he will definitely need more time. But I estimate that Saint Ancestor Bloodheart will recover in 1,000 years at most. Therefore, we only have 1,000 years left. Zulong said. 1,000 years? Lu Ming muttered and clenched his fists. He had to break through to the heavenly emperor realm within 1,000 years. Lu Ming, the path of domination is too profound. I've only heard of it in the past, but I've never seen it. I can't give you much advice, so you'll have to rely on yourself. Zulong said. I still have to thank Senior this time. Lu Ming bowed and cupped his fists. Okay. If you have any other questions in the future, you can come to me at any time. Go. Zulong said. Lu Ming turned around and left the lair of Zulong, returning to the heaven realm. At most 1,000 years. There's not much time left. Lu Ming muttered. The final battle would break out in 1,000 years at most. In the next 1,000 years, not only would he not be able to break through, but Lu Ming also wanted his family and friends to break through and improve their cultivation as soon as possible. Fortunately, when the catastrophe came, they would have enough power to protect themselves. Lu Ming planned to choose a good place in the heaven realm and gather all his family and friends together. He would pool the resources for everyone to cultivate. In fact, his current small world was already big enough. However, although it was big enough, the cultivation conditions were still incomparable to the heaven realm. Lu Ming left Two World City and started searching in the heaven realm. A few days later, Lu Ming appeared in the southern region of the Tai Ching heavenly region, standing on a vast mountain. This is the place. Lu Ming revealed a smile. This mountain range was extremely rich in original qi. One of the main peaks was 100,000 feet tall, piercing through the sky. Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared at the peak of the mountain. Then, with a thought, his small world appeared. Rise, go. Lu Ming shouted. In the small world, the path understanding ancient tree rose from its roots, bringing with it a large amount of soil. It flew out of the small world and landed on the peak of the mountain. As soon as it landed on the peak, the roots of the path understanding ancient tree wriggled and dug into the soil of the mountain, taking root. Lu Ming planned to plant the path understanding ancient tree here first and turn this place into a cultivation sanctuary. He would gather all his family and friends here. Now, the path understanding ancient tree was 3,000 meters tall. It covered the sky and was extremely huge. The aura of the great Tao lingered between each branch. Woo-woo. Roar. As soon as the path understanding ancient tree appeared, countless demonic beasts and strange beasts in the surrounding mountains sensed it and frantically gathered here. Get lost, go. Lu Ming shouted coldly. A terrifying aura burst out and enveloped all the mountains. It was as if a giant dragon was looking down at a group of ants. All the demonic beasts were almost scared to death and ran away. Buzz. Whoosh. Lu Ming moved and began to inscribe a large formation near the mountain range, encompassing a radius of 1,000,000 miles. Lu Ming spent a whole month before he managed to inscribe a large array. My array Dao cultivation is far from enough. In the future, I'll get Dandan to work hard and carve a large array. Lu Ming smiled. Then, he sent a message to Earth 1, Thunder 1, and the others to come over. Not long after, Earth 1, Thunder 1, and the rest arrived. In the future, you will all sit here and guard the place. Lu Ming said. Yes. Earth 1 and the rest accepted the order. Also, take these 6 weapons. 6 weapons appeared in Lu Ming's hands and he passed them to First Wind, First Fire, and the rest. What an amazing weapon. When Fire 1 and the other 6 sensed it, they were extremely shocked. This is equivalent to a Heaven Dao soldier's weapon. As long as you inject energy into it, it can be used. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming had brought out dozens of weapons of this level from Netherworld Mountain. Earth 1, Gold 1, and Thunder 1 each had a Heaven Dao soldier. Lu Ming did not give one to them, but gave one to Fire 1 and the others. Many thanks, young master. Fire 1 and the others thanked him gratefully. Then, they led the other puppets of the Primal Chaos Palace to build something in the area. Soon, huge halls and various cultivation grounds spread out with the path understanding ancient tree as the center. Next, he went to the battlefield outside Two World City and found Evil Swordsman and Jian Filiu. Evil Swordsman's origin had also been injured in the ancient battle. Lu Ming gave Evil Swordsman a life fruit, and after Evil Swordsman consumed it, his injuries healed not long after. Evil Swordsman's original cultivation was a 5-star heavenly emperor. Now, not only had his injuries healed, but he had also broken through and become a 6-star heavenly emperor. Of course, Lu Ming did not stay for long. After giving Evil Swordsman a fruit of life, he left and returned to the primordial realm. He brought the people of the Dragon Alliance and the people of Dragon God Valley to the Heaven Realm, to the new territory that he had opened up. When the people from the Dragon Alliance arrived, they suggested that this place be called the Dragon's Sovereign Peak. Lu Ming did not object. Chapter 25-22, Lu Ming's face. After that, the immemorial body cultivators also brought a large number of body cultivators to the Dragon Emperor Peak to cultivate. On the other hand, Bubbles, Feng Ling, Long Chen, Ouyang Wushuang, and the others had also brought their men to the Dragon's Sovereign Peak. After all, the path understanding ancient tree could not be found everywhere, especially the path understanding ancient tree that was 3,000 meters tall. The cultivation environment here was much better than many other places. Some people who were on good terms with Lu Ming and some other forces came to the Dragon's Sovereign Peak to cultivate. In a short time, a large number of experts had gathered there. Lu Ming also gave out the combat weapons he had obtained from Netherworld Mountain. For example, Lu Ming gave the few heavenly emperors who cultivated the immemorial body cultivation a combat weapon that was equivalent to a heavenly Dao soldier. As for Lu Ming himself, he sat at the Dragon's Sovereign Peak and cultivated in peace. Xian Yanqing, Lu Shenhuang, and the others were naturally at the Dragon's Sovereign Peak as well. They were often by Li Ping and Lu Yunshin's side, so the old couple was naturally happy every day. In the blink of an eye, half a year had passed. As for the matter regarding the Dragon Emperor Peak, it had also spread out, shocking many people in the Heaven Realm. I didn't expect Lu Ming to have another path understanding ancient tree, even among the peak experts, only a few people have this. Many people in the heaven realm were discussing. Time flew by, and another year passed. There was no such thing as an impervious wall in this world. The news that Lu Ming had a weapon that was equivalent to a Heaven Dao soldier and that he even had a fruit of life spread. This time, it really caused a great shock in the heaven realm. Greed rose in countless people's hearts, and many powerful forces were disloyal. A few higher-ups in a powerful faction were discussing this matter. Sect Master, Lu Ming not only controls the path understanding ancient tree, but he also has a weapon at the level of a heavenly soldier. He even has a heaven-defying treasure like the fruit of life. If we can get it, our strength will definitely soar. Right, why don't we take it? A few higher-ups suggested. No, the common enemy of the heaven realm is the evil god tribe. If we attack Lu Ming, I'm afraid the ancestral dragon will not let us off. Moreover, I heard that Lu Ming has a good relationship with a few of the top 10 combat beasts. The sect master said. If we can't do it openly, we can do it secretly. We can snatch Lu Ming's treasures in secret. Someone suggested, revealing a ruthless expression. This won't do. Lu Ming has many experts around him. Not only are there the 9 heavenly emperors from the Chaos Hall, but there are also experts from the Archean body cultivators. There are unparalleled experts there. They won't be easy to deal with. The sect master said. As for Lu Ming's own ability, they were not very concerned. After all, the ancestral dragon had ordered everyone to keep the incident in Netherworld Mountain a secret. Then what should we do? Someone asked. Lu Ming is an unparalleled genius with too many powerhouses behind him. It's too risky to deal with him. We'd better observe first. It'll be best if someone takes the lead. The sect master said. It was not only this force. Many other forces did not dare to make a move in the end. They planned to observe first. For a time, there were some undercurrents in the Tai Ching heavenly region. In a courtyard at the Dragon Sovereign Peak, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were chatting. Every time Lu Ming cultivated for a period of time, he would take some time to rest and spend time with his family. Now, the news that you have a Heaven Dao soldier-level weapon and a fruit of life has spread. These are all priceless items. Aren't you afraid of being coveted by others? Xian Yanqing smiled. We're afraid. Lu Ming smiled. With their current strength, who were they afraid of? Xian Yanqing also smiled. Whoever missed him could only blame their bad luck. However, it's not good to be remembered every day. After all, we're all from the heaven realm, and we'll have to fight the enemy together in the future. It'll dispel their thoughts. Lu Ming said with a smile. A few days later, a piece of news spread throughout the Tai Ching heavenly region. 3 months later, Lu Ming would invite one of the top 10 war beasts, the 9-headed golden lion Qingcang, to give a lecture at the Dragon Sovereign Peak. At that time, everyone was welcome to come and listen to the lecture. The news caused an uproar in the Tai Ching heavenly region. What kind of existence was the 9-headed golden lion Qingcang? He was a creature that had been famous since ancient times. He had the cultivation of a peak heavenly emperor and was extremely powerful. The fact that Lu Ming was able to invite Qingcang to give a lecture at the Dragon Sovereign Peak was enough to show how close Lu Ming and Qingcang were. The powerful forces that had their eyes on Lu Ming's treasures were like a bucket of cold water that was splashed on their heads when they heard this news. They immediately dispelled the idea of attacking Lu Ming. What a joke! In the past, there were rumors that Lu Ming had a good relationship with the top 10 combat beasts. However, those were just rumors. But now, Lu Ming could be invited to give a lecture. Their relationship was not only good. Wasn't it courting death to go against such an expert? In the following 3 months, countless powerhouses from the Tai Ching heavenly region gathered at the Dragon Emperor Peak. There were even many powerhouses of the Heavenly Emperor realm. For a time, the Dragon Sovereign Peak was filled with experts. On this day, 3 months later, Qing Tsung arrived as promised and gave a lecture. A peak heavenly emperor's understanding of cultivation had already reached an extremely profound realm. Countless people benefited from this lecture, and even some heavenly emperors were greatly inspired. It should be known that there were not many peak heavenly emperors in the entire heaven realm, especially after the ancient war. Those who died or were injured were all in seclusion to cultivate or recuperate. Who would come out to give a lecture? It was very rare. After this lecture, Lu Ming released another important piece of news. 10 years later, he would invite another peak heavenly emperor to give a Tao lecture at the Dragon Sovereign Peak. The crowd was even more shocked. Lu Ming could actually invite a peak heavenly emperor to give a lecture. This level of energy was shocking. Those forces that had designs on Lu Ming completely extinguished their thoughts. Although the treasure was important, he had to be alive to take it. Everyone was looking forward to the arrival of 10 years later. 10 years passed in the blink of an eye to experts. 10 years later, Lu Ming invited a peak heavenly emperor from the prison suppression field to give a lecture at the Dragon Sovereign Peak. This time, there were even more people coming to Dragon Emperor Peak to listen to the Tao. It was simply a sea of people. At the same time, after the lecture ended, Lu Ming promised that a peak heavenly emperor would also give a lecture 10 years later. Everyone was shocked. Lu Ming was able to invite such a person. How many powerful people did he have connections with? This time, many of them decided to stay and cultivate near the Dragon Emperor Peak. Anyway, there was the path understanding ancient tree at the Dragon Emperor Peak. The cultivation environment was also top-notch in the heaven realm. Moreover, Lu Ming had an open attitude and welcomed others to come here to cultivate. This time, Dandan finally came out of his closed-door cultivation not long after. His cultivation base had reached the peak of the Heavenly Emperor realm. He had planned to go into closed-door cultivation in one go and continue to break through to the demigod realm, but he was dragged here by Lu Ming. He worked hard for 3 months near the Dragon Sovereign Peak and set up a large array. After setting up the formation, Dandan ran away. No one knew where she went to enter closed-door cultivation to break through. With the great formation set up by Dandan, the Dragon Sovereign Peak had truly become a top-notch cultivation place. Chapter 2523 Three Kings of Darkness. The great formation set up by Dandan not only had the function of defense and attack, but also the function of gathering the origin chi of heaven and earth. The origin chi between heaven and earth had gathered near the Dragon Sovereign Peak, making the origin chi concentration here 10 times that of other places. For a time, the Dragon Sovereign Peak had become a holy land for cultivation, and countless people came to cultivate. Once the 10 years were up, Lu Ming invited the 9 Lives Devilish Silkworm to give a lecture. Many people were inspired and broke through their bottlenecks, improving their cultivation. After that, Lu Ming would invite a peak heavenly emperor to give a lecture every 10 years. This had continued for 60 years. Lu Ming only stopped inviting peak heavenly emperors after 60 years. However, it was enough. Everyone in the entire heaven realm knew about Lu Ming's connections. It was too shocking. The number of experts standing behind him was terrifying. Although many people felt that Lu Ming was not very powerful, he was shocked by his energy. 60 years later, although there were no peak heavenly emperors giving Tao lectures, it seemed to have become a tradition. From time to time, powerful heavenly emperors would hold Tao lectures here, attracting many people to come and listen. Some of these sergeants were 4-star heavenly emperors, and some were 5-star heavenly emperors. Although they were far inferior to peak heavenly emperors, it was still a rare opportunity for those living beings below the heavenly emperor realm. The Dragon Sovereign Peak had turned into a holy land for cultivation. Time passed quickly. It had been 100 years since Lu Ming and the rest left Netherworld Mountain. In the past 100 years, other than accompanying his family or teaching his disciples, Lu Ming had spent the rest of his time cultivating. His comprehension of the sovereign Tao had grown stronger and stronger over the past 100 years, but his cultivation was still at peak Great Emperor. His comprehension of the battle character formula was also getting deeper and deeper. It was several times better than when he had just come out of Netherworld Mountain. As for the others, such as Lu Xiangxiang, Ouyang Moli, Long Chen, and Huang Ling, they had all improved greatly. After consuming the fruit of life, their potential had exploded and their cultivation had increased greatly. Now, all of them had stepped into the great emperor realm. Even Lu Ming's two in-name disciples, Zhuang Xiaoshan and Zhuang Xiaoro, had become martial emperors. On this day, Lu Ming and Li Ping were drinking tea and chatting in the courtyard. Ming your and Xiaqing's granddaughter is already so old. Aren't you going to settle your matters? Li Ping asked. This, Lu Ming muttered to himself. His granddaughter, Lu Qi, had displayed shocking cultivation talent. She had become a great emperor long ago and had cultivated for more than 200 years. If not for the fact that Lu Qi was focused on cultivation and had no intention of getting married, Lu Ming would have many descendants. However, his wedding with Xian Yanqing had never been held. Li Ping and Lu Yuntian were still thinking about it. Ming you're thinking about Qiu Yu, Miss Feng Ling, and Miss Mulan, aren't you? Li Ping glanced at Lu Ming and said with a faint smile. Cough cough. Lu Ming coughed dryly. That was indeed the case. Now, his family and friends were all gathered in the vicinity of the Dragon Emperor Peak to cultivate. Xian Yanqing and Qiu Yu were both there. Huang Ling and Mulan were there as well. Everyone could see their feelings for Lu Ming, let alone him. Therefore, Lu Ming did not know how to face it. Hence, the wedding had been delayed. This child, you are exactly the same as your father when he was young. You also like to play with flowers and grass. Li Ping said in dissatisfaction. Cough, cough, cough. You're a woman, don't talk nonsense. When did I flirt around? At the side, Lu Yuntian hurriedly coughed dryly, and his face turned red. Father, mother, let me think about this matter again. Lu Ming was having a headache too. The only thing he could do now was to delay it and find an opportunity to test Xian Yanqing. Boom! Boom! Right at this moment, a few explosions suddenly came from the distant sky. Someone had barged in. The first thing that came to Lu Ming's mind was that someone had barged in and was attacked by the array. Who's there? How dare you break into the Dragon Emperor Peak? Stay here. Lu Ming didn't even need to make a move. 5 to 6 figures immediately rushed out from the Dragon Sovereign Peak and flew into the sky to launch an attack. They were Thunder One, Earth One, Gold One, and the others. Buzz! In the sky above the Dragon Sovereign Peak, there was a black shadow that was moving extremely fast. It was fighting with Lei Yi and the others. However, after a few moves, Lei Yi and the others were completely outmatched and were forced to retreat. Let this old master deal with you. In the Dragon Sovereign Peak, an old man stepped out in the air. His fist force was as heavy as a mountain, and it blasted toward the black shadow. This elder was an elder among the immemorial body cultivators. He was also the strongest one. Back then, his cultivation had already reached the 4-star Heavenly Emperor level. The two of them exchanged more than a dozen moves, but the old Archean body cultivator was no match for him and was forced to retreat. He, it's said that Dragon Emperor Peak is full of powerhouses, but you're just so. A sneer was heard, and a figure appeared in the sky. It was a black-robed old man. He was thin and his eyes were cold. It's the Black Bat King. One of the 3 kings of darkness, the Black Bat King. Voices were heard from the Dragon Sovereign Peak. Lu Ming's close friends and family were not the only ones cultivating near the Dragon Sovereign Peak. There were many other people cultivating there as well. Some of them recognized the elder in black. So it's the 3 kings of darkness. Lu Ming's heart stirred. He had also heard of the 3 kings of darkness. They were the 3 notorious scums in the heaven realm. As the saying goes, when the forest is big, there are all kinds of people. There were countless living beings in the heaven realm, and not everyone was determined to fight against the evil god tribe. Among them, there were some who never fought with the alien races and often attacked the heaven realm powerhouses. They were notorious. The three kings of darkness were the best among them. The three kings of darkness were not humans, but three divine beasts. Two of them were 5-star heavenly emperors, while the other one was a 6-star heavenly emperor. In addition, they were extremely cautious and never provoked strong people with high cultivation. Moreover, they did not have a fixed residence and were elusive. They were also good at speed. Some of the top experts of the heaven realm wanted to get rid of them, but they always escaped. The mention of the three kings of darkness caused many people in the heaven realm to change their expressions. Black Bat King, you dare to come to my dragon's sovereign peak? Aren't you afraid of death? Lei roared. He, don't think that I don't know. We brothers have been waiting and watching for 100 years. Of course, we're confident that we can make a move. Recently, no one has been preaching on the dragon's sovereign peak. Those existences above the 5-star heavenly emperor level have all left. Who can do anything to us brothers? The Black Bat King laughed and stepped forward, revealing his 5-star heavenly emperor cultivation base. Lu Ming, get out here and hand over all the combat weapons and life fruits you have. Also, well, take this path understanding ancient tree. With that, the Black Bat King stretched out a big hand and grabbed the path understanding ancient tree on the top of the Dragon Emperor peak. Don't even think about it. Lei Yi and the others, as well as the ancient body cultivator Celestial Arch, all rose into the sky and attacked the Black Bat King, blocking him. However, at this moment, the space behind the Black Bat King cracked open and two more figures appeared. The other two kings of darkness had arrived. Chapter 2524 suppressed with a flip of the hand. The other two kings of darkness had arrived. They were the Black Eagle King and the Black Wing King. The Black Eagle King was a 6-star heavenly emperor, while the Black Wing King was a 5-star heavenly emperor. The auras of the three of them spread out without any restraint, enveloping the dragon's sovereign peak within. On the dragon's sovereign peak, many people's faces turned pale. The three kings of darkness must have been watching this place for a long time. During this period of time, the dragon's sovereign peak was lacking powerhouses. Sometimes, there were still some 5-star and 6-star heavenly emperors who stayed at the Dragon Emperor peak. However, these experts had all left during this period of time. It was obvious that the three lords of darkness had taken advantage of this gap to come here. Lu Ming, hand over the treasures you have and we three brothers will spare your life. The Black Bat King clamored again. So what if there were many experts behind Lu Ming? As long as they snatched Lu Ming's treasures and found a place to hide, who would be able to find them? It seems that I need to show my might. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile and a cold glint flashed in his eyes. Obviously, most people were afraid of the power behind him and didn't dare to attack him, but that didn't mean that everyone didn't dare to. Those desperados who had nothing to worry about dared. All of this was because many people thought that Lu Ming was not strong enough. Today, Lu Ming was going to put an end to these people's thoughts. Initially, the formation that he had set up here was enough to kill the three lords of darkness. However, Lu Ming did not plan to activate the formation this time. He wanted to take action personally. Father, Mother, I need to go out for a while. Lu Ming said to Lu Yuntian and Li Ping. Ming you have to be careful. Li Ping said with concern. Father, Mother, don't worry. Lu Ming smiled and took a step forward. In the next moment, he appeared in the sky above the dragon's sovereign peak, facing the three lords of darkness. Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming. It's too dangerous for him to face the three lords of darkness like this. Many people were discussing in shock. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, you're finally willing to come out. The Blackwing King of the three kings of darkness sneered. I'll take into account that it wasn't easy for you to cultivate. Surrender and become my mountain guardian divine beast, and I'll spare your lives. Lu Ming said coldly. What? The three kings of darkness were stunned, and they looked at each other. Lu Ming actually asked them to surrender and even asked them to be his guardian divine beasts. Was he crazy? Did he think that there were still powerhouses keeping watch at the dragon's sovereign peak? They had been hiding at the Dragon Emperor Peak for 2 years. They knew the entrance and exit of the Dragon Emperor Peak like the back of their hands. He wanted to scare them. They thought that Lu Ming was bluffing. Lu Ming, you don't have to bluff. We know the Dragon Sovereign Peak like the back of our hands. You can't scare us. The Black Bat King laughed coldly. That's right. Today, the strongest person in your Dragon Sovereign Peak is only a 4-star Heavenly Emperor. The Black Wing King sneered. The Black Eagle King, the leader of the 3 Kings of Darkness, had not said a word. Oh, really? The strongest expert at the Dragon Sovereign Peak was only a 4-star Heavenly Emperor? How did you guys come to this conclusion? The smile at the corner of Lu Ming's mouth grew wider. Then, he continued to take steps forward. You're bluffing. Since that's the case, I'll kill you and your treasures will still belong to us. The Black Bat King let out a long screech, and in a flash, he disappeared. The 3 Kings of Darkness were known for their speed, and the Black Bat King's movement was extremely fast. Most people on the same level as him could not keep up with his speed at all. However, he had encountered Lu Ming. Lu Ming stood there, unmoving, as if he had not seen the Black Bat King attack. Not good. Thunder 1, Gold 1, and the rest of the people from Dragon Sovereign Peak were all shocked. Let's go and help the young master. Thunder 1, Gold 1, and the rest were about to rush toward Lu Ming. Don't interfere, Lu Ming waved his hand and stopped Lei Yi and the rest from taking action. Whoosh! At this moment, a bright ray of light shot out from behind Lu Ming, aiming for the middle of his back. The Black Bat Monarch had launched his attack. His timing was impeccable. When Lu Ming stopped Lei Yi and the rest, he revealed a flaw. In addition, the Black Bat King's attack was fast, accurate, and ruthless. He was completely confident that this move would hit Lu Ming. As expected, he had stabbed her. The long sword in his palm pierced Lu Ming's back. At this moment, everyone's expression changed drastically. The others' expressions changed drastically because they thought that Lu Ming was done for. He was going to fall at the hands of the Black Bat Monarch. The reason for the Black Bat King's change in expression was the exact opposite of the others. That was because he realized that his long sword had pierced Lu Ming's back but could not penetrate it. Lu Ming's body seemed to be tougher than any divine weapon. His long sword stopped on Lu Ming's skin and could no longer penetrate it no matter how much power he exerted. Not good. The Black Bat Monarch roared in his heart and wanted to retreat. However, he was shocked to find that Lu Ming's body had produced a terrifying force that was firmly sucking him in. He could not retreat at all. He couldn't even move even if he wanted to, let alone retreat. Terrifying, extremely terrifying. At this moment, the Black Bat King's heart was filled with fear. He suddenly understood that he was facing an extremely terrifying existence. The Black Bat King's face turned even uglier than if he were crying. Lu Ming turned around slowly and faced the Black Bat King with a bright smile. Your strength isn't that great, is it? Lu Ming smiled. Everyone else in the area was also dumbfounded. What was going on? Why was it that Lu Ming was completely fine when the Black Bat Monarch had stabbed him? On the other hand, the Black Bat Monarch was just standing there motionless, as if he had been frozen in place. Many people were already dumbfounded. Big brother, second brother, let's go. This man is evil. The Black Bat King reacted and immediately shouted. Let go of my third brother. Release him. The Black Eagle King and the Black Wing King didn't leave. With a roar, they revealed their true forms. It was a giant black eagle and a giant black sparrow. The Black Eagle King and the Black Wing King flapped their wings, stirring up a strong wind as they charged towards Lu Ming. Stubborn. Suppress. Lu Ming said coldly. He stretched out a hand and pressed down on the void. Boom. 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 In the sky, endless energy gathered, and a huge purple-gold hand formed. It covered a part of the sky, and pressed down on the Black Eagle King and the Black Wing King. The terrifying power caused the Black Eagle King and the Black Wing King's expressions to change. "Not good, let's go." The Black Eagle King roared in fear, flapped his wings, and turned to leave. That was because he knew that he was no match for Lu Ming the moment he struck out with his palm. The Black Wing King did the same and turned to leave. However, they could not leave at all. The two of them were like two very slow mosquitoes that were enveloped by a palm. They could not escape the range of the palm's suppression at all. Boom! The purple gold palm pressed down. The Black Eagle King and the Black Wing King screamed in pain as they were pressed to the ground by Lu Ming's palm. Chapter 2525 Overlord Boom. Boom! The ground shook, and the Black Eagle King and the Black Wing King were pressed to the ground. They couldn't move at all, as if they were being crushed by an extremely heavy mountain. The scene fell into a dead silence. Everyone was dumbfounded. For a moment, they could not react at all. After a long while, the crowd gasped. Everyone looked at Lu Ming in shock. Oh my God, what did they just see? The Black Eagle King and the Black Wing King had been suppressed by Lu Ming's palm. They were a 6-star Heavenly Emperor and a 5-star Heavenly Emperor. They had dominated the Heaven Realm for countless years. They came and went without a trace. Some of the top experts couldn't do anything to them because they couldn't find them. However, they were suppressed by Lu Ming with one palm. Was Lu Ming's ability so powerful? Terrifying, this was too terrifying. Miracle. This was simply a miracle. No one had ever reached this stage at Lu Ming's age. After that, the entire place was in an uproar. Everyone was discussing excitedly. As for the Black Bat King, he was almost scared to death when he saw this. His expression was even uglier than crying. Bang! Lu Ming kicked the Black Bat King's stomach. The Black Bat King cried out in pain as his body was sent flying. He landed heavily on the ground, right next to the Black Eagle King and the Black Wing King. "I'll give you one last chance. Surrender and be my guardian beast. Otherwise, you'll be my dinner tonight," Lu Ming said coldly. His cold gaze swept across the three Lords of Darkness, causing them to shiver. At the thought of becoming Lu Ming's meal, they broke out in a cold sweat. "We are willing to surrender, we are willing to surrender. We surrender." The three Kings of Darkness shouted one after another. At this moment, they knew very well that if they didn't surrender, they would die. "Relax your mind. I will plant a restriction on your souls. Whoever resists will die," Lu Ming said. "Yes, yes, yes." The three Kings of Darkness nodded and bowed. At once, Lu Ming planted a restriction in the three Lords of Darkness souls. The three Lords of Darkness completely became Lu Ming's guardian beasts. "Master, the three of us have offended many enemies over the years. If we surrender to you, I'm afraid many people will come to find trouble with you," the Black Eagle King said worriedly. "Don't worry, you've become my guardian beasts, so you're my people. No one will dare to find trouble with you," Lu Ming said, full of confidence. "Yes, yes, Master's divine power is unparalleled. Whoever comes to find trouble with Master will die," the Black Bat King immediately said with a fawning expression. "All right, you guys guard 3 directions of the Dragon Emperor Peak. Go." Lu Ming waved his hand. "Yes, yes, yes." The three Kings of Darkness nodded and transformed into their original forms before flying in 3 different directions of the Dragon's sovereign peak. At this moment, many people were completely shocked. The three Kings of Darkness, who had wreaked havoc in the Heaven Realm, had been subdued by Lu Ming with ease. They were deeply shocked by Lu Ming's means and combat strength. Had Lu Ming's abilities reached this level? He could suppress a 6-star Heavenly Emperor with a flip of his hand. This kind of strength was already standing at the peak of this world. "No, I must report this to the sect leader. Hurry up and send a message to the Patriarch." many people started to take action. The news of Lu Ming suppressing the three lords of darkness spread at a terrifying speed. It soon spread throughout the entire Tai Ching heavenly region and even the primordial realm. The heaven realm and the primordial realm were in turmoil because of Lu Ming's matter. Everyone who heard the news was dumbfounded. What kind of strength was it to suppress a 6-star heavenly emperor with a flip of his hand? Everyone understood that they had completely underestimated Lu Ming in the past. Not only did Lu Ming have many terrifying powerhouses behind him, but he himself was also an extremely powerful existence. They finally knew why those peak experts had such a good relationship with Lu Ming. It was because Lu Ming was at the same level as them. All the powerful forces and powerful existences no longer had any disloyal thoughts or thoughts about Lu Ming. Many forces even sent emissaries to congratulate Lu Ming. Of course, they were blocked at the door by Lu Ming. Lu Ming, have you already reached this stage? It seems that I am not your match after all. On a mountain in the heaven realm, Tian Ming stood with his hands behind his back and a complicated expression on his face. Now, he had also entered the Great Emperor realm. This cultivation speed could be said to be very strong in the history of the heaven realm. However, compared to Lu Ming, he was far inferior. Heaven realm, Lin family. Lin Xiaofeng, one of the 9 absolutes of the heaven realm, was looking in the direction of the dragon sovereign peak. As expected, I can't be compared to Lu Ming. I should put down my pride and go to the dragon emperor peak to seek Dao. With that, Lin Xiaofeng turned into a rainbow light and left for the dragon emperor peak. In the Lan family, everyone was silent after hearing the news. Then, they rejoiced. Back then, they had a grudge against Lu Ming. However, they listened to the Lan family's patriarch's suggestion and sent gifts to Lu Ming as an apology in public. In the past, many people were indignant and felt uncomfortable. They felt that there was no need to apologize to Lu Ming. However, they were all glad that they had resolved their grudges with Lu Ming. Otherwise, the Lan family would have been destroyed. Lu Ming. Xianyuan Yi, who had defeated Lin Xiaofeng to become the number 1 of the 9 absolutes and was then defeated by Lu Ming, stood in the courtyard of the Lan family. He looked in the direction of Dragon Sovereign Peak with a complicated look in his eyes. Xianyuan, you don't have to worry about it. Lu Ming has shocked the world. Since ancient times, there has never been someone like him. He's destined to be the protagonist of the world. We can't compare to him. Lan Xia walked over and held Xianyuan Yi's hand. He knew that Xianyuan Yi had a knot in his heart ever since he was defeated by Lu Ming. Ow! I understand. Xianyuan Yi sighed after a long while. From now on, I won't treat him as an opponent. Lu Ming. Lu Ming. At this moment, countless people in the heaven realm and the primordial realm chanted this name. Those who had a grudge against Lu Ming were all trembling in fear. Those who were close to Lu Ming were all smiles. From then on, Lu Ming had become a hegemon in everyone's hearts, a giant of the heaven realm. As for the people who went to the Dragon Sovereign Peak to cultivate, there were even more of them. They came in an endless stream. Lu Ming did not reject anyone. In fact, he even personally held a lecture a few months later. Those who listened to him were deeply convinced by his teachings. After that incident, the days at Dragon Emperor Peak became peaceful. In fact, the entire heaven realm, primordial realm, and evil god realm had been very peaceful during this period of time. The 2 battlefields would occasionally have a battle. It was peaceful, and everyone was in seclusion, cultivating with all their might. This was because everyone knew that this peace was only on the surface. No one knew when a shocking storm would erupt. At that time, everyone would be swept into it. Chapter 2526. Destroying the camp with a single shot. Spring left and autumn came, and another 100 years passed in a hurry. 200 years had passed since Lu Ming and the rest returned from Netherworld Mountain. In a secret chamber at the peak of the Dragon Sovereign Peak, Lu Ming had just finished his cultivation. He was frowning. After another 100 years, Lu Ming's cultivation base had reached the limit of peak Great Emperor. He felt that he could break through to the Heavenly Emperor realm at any time. However, the force between heaven and earth that was blocking him was too strong. He could not break through it. My combat power is still not enough. It's hard to break through the power of the heavenly Tao. Lu Ming frowned and pondered. After more than 200 years of cultivation, Lu Ming realized that his cultivation speed of the battle formula was still too slow. Furthermore, he seemed to have reached a bottleneck in his cultivation of the battle formula. It had been more than 10 years and he had not improved at all. The battle symbol art must be improved in battle. Only in battle can the comprehension of the battle symbol art be faster. Furthermore, I've reached a bottleneck. I'll have to go through an intense battle to break through. Lu Ming started to think. However, at his current level, there were not many people who could fight with him. Even if he went to find demigods from the heaven realm to fight, they were all from the heaven realm, so it was impossible for him to fight to the death. The effect would definitely not be good. Evil God tribe. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He thought of the evil god race. The evil god tribe was the best whetstone. Then I'll use you guys as practice first. Lu Ming muttered and left the place of seclusion. He took a step forward and the space cracked open. Lu Ming stepped into the space and disappeared. The next moment, he appeared on the battlefield outside Two World City. All these years, the evil god tribe had always been focused on defense. However, they would also send some people to fight with the heaven realm on the battlefield. Therefore, the heaven realm and the evil god tribe would often fight on this battlefield. However, they were all small-scale, and there were no large-scale battles. Lu Ming took a step forward and headed in the direction of the Hunyuan heavenly realm. Kill! Kill! After walking for a while, Lu Ming heard intense battle cries ahead. A group of people were engaged in an intense battle. Some were from the heaven realm, some were from the evil god tribe, and there were hundreds of them in total. Both sides fought fiercely, with people dying from time to time. Lu Ming walked straight toward the battlefield. Kill! A tall evil god clansman saw Lu Ming and charged at him with a battle axe in his hand. Buzz! A piece of muscle on Lu Ming's chest shook violently. The vibration of the muscle and the space shook rapidly, forming a terrifying force. The foreign being's body exploded under the force. Given Lu Ming's current physical state, he did not even need to make a move. The terrifying power that erupted from the vibration of his muscles was enough to kill the enemy. Bang! Bang! As Lu Ming took a step forward, the bodies of all the evil god tribe members who got close to him exploded and died on the spot. However, the living beings in the heaven realm were also fine. Many people were shocked. What kind of technique was this? They had not seen Lu Ming make a move, but the evil god tribe members had already died. Lu Ming, yes, Lu Ming. Someone exclaimed as he recognized Lu Ming. It's Lu Ming. No wonder. The people from the heaven realm were overjoyed. As for the evil god race members, they were afraid and turned to run. Whoosh! Lu Ming waved his hand, and a purple gold light flashed across the void. All the evil god tribe members were killed on the spot. So strong, he's too powerful. Is this Lu Ming's strength? Those evil god tribe members can't even withstand a single blow. The people from the heaven realm were shocked to see Lu Ming kill hundreds of alien races with ease. Lu Ming did not stop after killing hundreds of alien races. He continued to move forward. Where is Lu Ming going? Could it be that he wants to kill his way to the camp of the non-humankind? It's been a long time since someone of this level made a move. This is a big deal. Let's go and take a look. The heaven realm beings followed behind Lu Ming. Lu Ming continued to move forward. Along the way, he encountered a few fights. Lu Ming casually attacked and killed the evil god race. After recognizing Lu Ming, the beings from the heaven realm followed him one by one. There were more than 1,000 of them. Finally, a huge object appeared in front of them. They had arrived at the evil god tribe's military camp. The evil god tribe's camp was huge and blocked the path to the Hunyuan heavenly region. The interior was densely packed with all kinds of buildings and countless evil god race members. The camp was surrounded by large formations that flickered with light, protecting the camp. In some places, the heaven realm beings and the evil god race were still fighting. Boom! Lu Ming's aura began to rise. A long spear condensed by the ruler's power appeared in his hand. Buzz! Lu Ming soared into the sky and stood high in the air. He held the long spear with both hands and swung it forward with all his might. The long spear in his hand grew rapidly, filling up the entire sky. It was even more majestic than a mountain range, and it pressed down toward the evil god tribe's military camp. Not good, someone is attacking the camp. The evil god tribe's military camp was shaken, and countless figures flew around. Great formation, activate the great formation, don't panic. Our formation is enough to stop them. Their voices spread through the entire military camp. The evil god tribe's military camp lit up with beams of light. A huge beam of light enveloped the entire camp. Boom! The purple gold spear struck the light shield of the evil god tribe's military camp heavily. When the spear hit the light shield, the entire battlefield seemed to shake violently, sending dust into the air. Bang! Bang! The ground near the evil god tribe's military camp exploded continuously, sending rocks flying everywhere. One after another, huge cracks appeared on the ground like a spider web. The light barrier formed by the evil god tribe's formation started to shake crazily. It was like an elastic bubble that was being crushed and caved in. Break! Lu Ming shouted. He exerted all his strength and pressed down. Bang! The light barrier around the evil god tribe's military camp exploded. It was broken. The evil god tribe's military camp's formation was broken by Lu Ming's spear. The huge spear brought with it a terrifying aura and pressed down. Run, quickly run. Run! Countless members of the evil god race were shocked to death. However, as the spear pressed down, it created an endless spatial storm. Many of the evil god tribe members were crushed into meat paste under the terrifying power before they could escape. One by one, the members of the evil god tribe exploded. Boom! The huge spear finally struck the ground, causing countless buildings to explode. A huge spear mark that was 5 million miles long and 1 million miles wide appeared on the ground. Tragic! In that instant, countless members of the evil god tribe were killed by Lu Ming. The evil god tribe's military camp was a complete mess. Heavens! The beings of the heaven realm were all dumbfounded when they saw this. Lu Ming had single-handedly destroyed the evil god tribe's military camp with one move and killed countless members of the evil god tribe. He was too powerful. Chapter 25-27, Lu Ming, an invincible powerhouse. Lu Ming broke through the evil god tribe's formation and took a step forward. He appeared in front of the evil god tribe's military camp and swept out with his long spear. It was as if the spear was sweeping through thousands of soldiers. The camp that was not hit just now was constantly blown to pieces by the spear. Run, quickly run! Countless members of the evil god tribe turned into countless streaks of light and fled toward the back of the military camp. Lu Ming, you're courting death. Damn it! A few angry roars came from the depths of the evil god race's camp. A few terrifying auras rose up and rushed over. Peak Heavenly Emperor. It's a peak Heavenly Emperor. Many of the heaven realm beings' expressions changed drastically, and they subconsciously tried to escape. Quick, send a message to Two World City and ask the experts to come over. The other party has 3 peak Heavenly Emperors. Some people had already started to transmit their voices. 3 peak Heavenly Emperors. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Buzz! Whoosh! The speed of a peak Heavenly Emperor was too fast. He appeared in front of Lu Ming in the blink of an eye. There's another acquaintance. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold glint. One of them was Mo Luojia, known as the Realm-Breaking General. Back then, Mo Luojia was the one who had captured Lu Ming and brought him to the evil god realm. As for the other two, one of them was a royal member of the evil god tribe, while the other was a noble member of the evil god tribe. Their bodies were covered in sparkling purple scales. The three-peak heavenly emperor's eyes were filled with terrifying killing intent. They wished they could cut Lu Ming into 8 pieces. Behind them, the heaven realm's creatures felt a terrifying pressure. Many of them had already retreated. Some of them were bold. Seeing that Lu Ming did not move, they forced themselves to be brave and watched. Lu Ming, you've killed so many of my people. Today, you'll die without a doubt, said Luojia coldly. Make your move, Mo Luojia. Today, it's a good time to settle the score of you capturing me back then. However, I advise you to make your move together. Lu Ming said. How arrogant. I alone am enough to kill you. Die. Luojia shouted coldly. He took a step forward and appeared in front of Lu Ming. His purple hair danced in the wind and his aura was raised to its maximum. Buzz. A combat sword appeared in his hand and he swung it at Lu Ming. The sword slashed out, and the void was cut apart, leaving a crack that was 1,000,000 miles long. A peak heavenly emperor's full power attack was unimaginably powerful. Without a doubt, the sword in Luojia's hand was a heaven Dao soldier. Buzz. The long spear in Lu Ming's hand shook and swept out, clashing with Mo Luojia's combat sword. Clang! With a deafening boom, Mo Luojia's body trembled violently. He was sent flying back tens of thousands of miles. He spat out a mouthful of blood. How is that possible? Luojia roared in his heart. He was so shocked that it was hard to imagine. The two of them had only exchanged one move and he was already injured by Lu Ming. Moreover, Lu Ming had not even used the Heaven Dao soldier, but he had already used it. He simply couldn't accept it. Back then, he could kill Lu Ming with a flip of his hand. However, he could actually injure him now. It had only been a few hundred years. A few hundred years, to people of their level, was just a blink of an eye. He was not the only one. The other two peak heavenly emperors of the evil god race and the other members of the evil god race were all stunned. The living beings of the heaven realm were also stunned. He injured a peak heavenly emperor with one move. Is this Lu Ming's strength? This is too terrifying. Even some of the heaven realm beings that were running away stopped in their tracks. I said, you can't do it alone. Come at me 3 times. Lu Ming said. The purple gold spear in his hand dispersed and was replaced by the Great Desolation Spear. Let's attack together. Mo Luojia looked at the other two peak heavenly emperors. Good. Let's attack together. We must kill this man today. The other peak stage heavenly emperor from the evil god tribe nodded and transmitted a message to the other two. Lu Ming was really terrifying. He had such combat strength at such a young age. They had also heard of Lu Ming's performance in Netherworld Mountain. The evil god tribe members who had been to Netherworld Mountain said that Lu Ming had the combat strength of a peak heavenly emperor when he controlled the divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron. However, Lu Ming did not do anything just now. He had injured Luojia with his own strength. This was a little terrifying. This proved that Lu Ming's ability was increasing rapidly. If such a person was not killed, there would be endless trouble in the future. Boom! 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 The 3 peak heavenly emperors moved instantly and attacked Lu Ming from 3 directions. Come on! Lu Ming's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. He shook his Great Desolation Spear and thrust it out 3 times. 3 spear lights were aimed at the 3 of them. There were 3 consecutive booms. The attacks of Luojia and the other 2 were all destroyed by Lu Ming. They were even forced to retreat by Lu Ming's attacks. Kill! Lu Ming took a step forward with an imposing manner. His long spear trembled, and the spear's radiance that soared to the sky attacked the 3 of them continuously, enveloping them in the spear's radiance. The 3 of them unleashed their full power and fought Lu Ming. However, they were shocked to discover that they were not Lu Ming's match at all. They were completely suppressed and at a disadvantage. Lu Ming is going to win. After the shock, the beings of the heaven realm were overjoyed. Lu Ming could suppress 3 peak heavenly emperors alone. What kind of combat strength was that? An invincible expert. A word flashed across everyone's mind. Only an unrivaled powerhouse would have such combat strength to suppress 3 peak heavenly emperors. Lu Ming had actually reached the stage of being an invincible powerhouse. Bang! In the intense battle, Maroja was whipped by Lu Ming's long spear. His body almost exploded. He retreated frantically and kept vomiting blood. Maroja, I'll send you on your way. Lu Ming's cold voice was heard. As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Ming had already appeared in front of Maroja and thrust the Great Desolation Spear. No! Maroja was terrified. He burst out madly, setting up attacks and defenses. However, under Lu Ming's attack, it was all in vain. They all collapsed and exploded. Lu Ming's current physical combat strength was equivalent to that of a peak heavenly emperor. The combat strength of the Way of the Ruler was also equivalent to that of a peak heavenly emperor. With the two combined, Lu Ming's strength was far beyond that of a peak heavenly emperor. In addition, Lu Ming had comprehended the battle character formula. With the enhancement of the battle formula, Lu Ming's combat strength was even stronger. He could easily suppress a peak stage heavenly emperor. Pfft! The Great Desolation Spear broke through Mo Luojia's attack like a piece of rotten wood. It pierced through his dantian. Maroja's eyes were wide open as he looked at Lu Ming in shock. There was fear in his eyes. Go! Lu Ming said coldly. He shook the long spear and a terrifying power burst out. Mo Luojia's body was torn into pieces. A peak heavenly emperor had fallen. Not good, let's go. The other 2 peak heavenly emperors turned around and left, not daring to continue fighting. They immediately tore open space, wanting to escape through space. A peak heavenly emperor had the ability to tear space and travel from one realm to another. Stay! Lu Ming pulled out the Great Desolation Spear in his hand and the space exploded, blocking the other party's path. Then, Lu Ming charged toward the 2 peak heavenly emperors. Chapter 2528. Killing his way to Hunyuan Heavenly Domain. Lu Ming blocked the path of retreat of the 2 peak heavenly emperors from the evil god tribe. His long spear swept across the sky and headed toward the 2 of them. Previously, the 3 peak heavenly emperors were no match for Lu Ming. Now that there were only 2 left, they were even more outmatched. Although the 2 of them tried their best to resist and counterattack, under the pressure of Lu Ming's long spear, the 2 of them continued to retreat. They spat out blood and their bodies cracked. Go, quickly go. Go report to the king. The other members of the evil god tribe did not dare to stay any longer. Regardless of their cultivation, they all ran for their lives. For a moment, not a single one of them was left in the huge military camp. Bang! One of the peak stage heavenly emperors of the evil god tribe was struck in the shoulder by Lu Ming. Half of his body exploded and he was sent flying. Kill! One of the evil god race members was severely injured. Lu Ming had his eyes on the last evil god race member. His blood and chi were in turmoil, and the power of domination filled the air. Lu Ming's courage was unparalleled. With the support of the battle character formula, any random move he made was filled with terrifying combat power. Pfft! The peak stage heavenly emperor from the evil god tribe was unable to block it. His head was pierced through by the spear and he died on the spot. Then, Lu Ming charged toward the injured evil god tribe member. Without a doubt, the evil god tribe member was also killed by Lu Ming. Since then, the 3 peak heavenly emperors who were guarding the evil god tribe's military camp had all died at Lu Ming's hands. The heavens, the beings of the heaven realm were all dumbfounded. He had killed 3 peak heavenly emperors by himself. These were peak heavenly emperors. Every one of them stood at the peak of the world. Every one of them was a true big shot. However, 3 of them had died at once. The impact of watching 3 peak heavenly emperors die in front of them was extremely shocking. They couldn't react in time. It was only when Lu Ming stepped forward into the evil god tribe's military camp and was about to disappear that they came to their senses. When he finally reacted, he was extremely excited. That was because the camp of the non-human race had been breached. Quick, go back and tell them that the camp of the non-humankind has been broken through. Let the army come here and fight to the Hunyuan heavenly realm. We can take back the Hunyuan heavenly realm now. Hurry! All of the heaven realm beings seemed to have gone crazy and were extremely excited. Since the ancient war, the 9 heavenly regions of the heaven realm, except for the Tai Ching heavenly region, had been occupied by the alien races. Now, they finally had a chance to take back the Hunyuan heavenly realm. Naturally, they were excited. Buzz! Whoosh! One figure after another flew toward Two World City. Two World City, like the royal city, was heavily guarded. The formation was activated. Very quickly, those people returned to Two World City. Quick, quick, report to the heavenly venerates. Send the army to attack the Hunyuan heavenly realm. We must take it back. Hurry, hurry up. The living beings of the heaven realm all cried out. The people in Two World City looked at them as if they were fools. Are you crazy? Take back the Hunyuan heavenly realm. There are countless powerful beings stationed in the evil god tribe's military camp. How do we take them? Did you guys receive some kind of shock? The people in Two World City were speechless. No, the evil god tribe's military camp has been breached. 3 peak heavenly emperors from the other party have died, and the rest have escaped. Now is a good time. Someone shouted. Really? 3 peak heavenly emperors have died, and you're all just bragging. The people in Two World City obviously did not believe him. Peak heavenly emperors were not cabbages. There were not many of them in the entire heaven realm and the evil god realm. How could they die so easily? It's true. I have to report this to the various exalted celestials. At this moment, a tall and sturdy old man came up to them. He was quite dignified. Heavenly Emperor Lu Yun. Many people in Two World City were shocked when they saw the old man. Heavenly Emperor Lu Zheng was a veteran heavenly emperor who had been guarding Two World City in the past and had a lot of prestige. Could it be that what they said was true? Then, when they thought of this, their eyes revealed a look of horror. Heavenly Emperor Liujia probably wouldn't say such things. Thump. Boom. Many people's hearts started to beat faster. If this was true, it would be a big deal. Quickly report to the various exalted celestials. Some people rushed towards Two World City. Before long, at least a dozen figures arrived on the city walls of Two World City. These people were all peerless experts who were guarding Two World City. Every one of them was a 4-star heavenly emperor or above. There were even 2 peak heavenly emperors. Lu Qian, what happened? Is what you're saying true? A peak heavenly emperor asked. My lord, it's true. We saw that the evil god tribe's camp has been broken through and 3 peak stage heavenly emperors have been killed. Now is the best time to attack the Hunyuan heavenly realm. Celestial Emperor Liujia said. Who's going to attack? Which unrivaled expert? A peerless expert asked. Even with their temperaments, they were still greatly shocked. Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming. Someone immediately shouted. What? Lu Ming. The dozen or so peerless powerhouses were all greatly shocked. Lu Ming is alone. Someone asked. That's right. It's Lu Ming alone. He broke the evil god tribe's formation and killed 3 peak emperors on the spot. He's already in the Hunyuan heavenly region. Celestial Emperor Liujia said. Hiss. Hiss. The people present gasped. Lu Ming had single-handedly broken through the alien tribe's formation and killed 3 peak heavenly emperors. What a shocking achievement was this! How amazing was Lu Ming's combat strength! Previously, some people had speculated that Lu Ming's strength had already reached the peak of the Heavenly Emperor realm. However, they now knew that they had underestimated Lu Ming. Sound the drums. Gather the army and follow me to the Hunyuan Heavenly Realm. One of the top powers took a deep breath and gave the order. Thump! 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 A deafening boom was heard in Two World City. The war drums were sounded, and countless cultivators flew towards the city walls. What's going on? Don't tell me the alien races are attacking. Is the final battle coming? Many people were puzzled. Let us go, follow me to the camp of the outsiders. A peak Heavenly Emperor took the lead and flew out of Two World City. Although many people were confused, they did not question the military order and flew out of Two World City. Countless voices blotted out the sky as they charged toward the Evil God Tribe's military camp. When they arrived at the Evil God Tribe's military camp and saw the ruins and the huge spear mark that was millions of miles long, they were all deeply shocked. The Evil God Tribe's military camp had been breached, and the Evil God Tribe was completely empty. It's Lu Ming. Very soon, the news of Lu Ming breaching the Evil God Tribe's military camp spread throughout the entire army. Everyone was shocked. Kill our way over, kill our way to the Hunyuan Heavenly Realm and take it back. Kill. Ha ha ha. Then, the morale of the Heaven Realm beings was greatly boosted. They rushed past the Evil God Tribe's camp and attacked the Hunyuan Heavenly region. Wherever they went, they saw corpses of the Evil God Tribe. Clearly, these were all killed by Lu Ming.